How about we watch something on this? Here we go. All right, so I'm just going to take a break here. So EJ Space and Rocket review. Okay. Maybe investigate that slow pitch roll to retro get issued. Yeah, I want to figure out the guidance. Because I don't like that the script is running and it's doing something I don't want. Screw that. It needs to do exactly what we intended to do in the script. I don't know a lot about software engineering, but I'm pretty sure, like aerospace engineering, if you're telling it to do something and it's not doing what you want and you say it's good, pretty sure that's a no-no. Am I in the ballpark? Yeah, you definitely don't want deviant code. Yeah, but you could call it a feature. I'm leaving now. I'm I'm leaving now. I'm gonna go get food. I'll be back.
I think it's a natural question is why explore space? And different people have different views on this. Personally, to my way of thinking, part of human nature is to reach out and explore.
The fact of the matter is, if man stops really stretching himself and extending himself and looking out, then I think that's when civilization will begin to decline. Man just has that inquisitive nature, and it's got to be satisfied.
We're right on the threshold of really a brand new opportunity to explore the solar system and the universe and to increase the value of benefits back here on home.
Spacelab itself, as it is presently conceived, will provide us with a capability which grows on Skylab, expands on Skylab, and provides us with an enormous capability to conduct research in space.
And of course, space exploration provides this spiritual quality. It allows you to go to the unknown and find what's there, and hopefully by doing so, you're going to improve your lot.
To have a guy there to change film, to change programs, to repoint the thing, to fix it when it breaks, to take it out and put a new one in, is in many cases not only the rewarding thing to do, but it's the cheap thing to do.
First, we've explored the moon, and we've now going to explore near space, and finally we're going to explore the solar system. All of this, man plays an integral part.
If our children and our children's children are going to enjoy the same quality of life here on Earth as we have enjoyed in the past, we're going to have to learn how to find new resources and how to manage the ones that we have more efficiently and more effectively.
Of course, Apollo went on to take us to the moon, but it also left us with a tremendous technology to look towards the future. And as far as Skylab is concerned, it represents a definite turning point.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We have ignition sequence start. All engines running. We have a liftoff.
May 14th, 1973. A working laboratory. Man's first home in space, on its way to Earth orbit. There to be occupied by 3 teams of astronauts in 3 record-breaking missions. Over the next several months, a lot of theory would become fact, and give rise to new theory about man, about Earth, about the physical universe. But on this day, a sequence of events began to cast doubt on even a first mission.
Of course, as soon as we could listen in on the flight director net, we realized something had happened to the lab, even though it looked like a perfect launch from where we had been observing it. The meteoroid shield ripped off about 60 seconds into the flight, and with the meteoroid shield gone, this gave us the problem of overheating in the workshop, so many different ideas in the intervening 10 days were put out as different means of being able to rig a temporary heat shield or a permanent heat shield which would allow us to salvage the vehicle.
Of course, all the NASA centers were working on it, all our contractors were working on it, and taking an active part in the discussions and the decisions that were made as to what's wrong with the workshop and how we're going to fix it. We went to Marshall to work in the water tank with the proposed fixes, talked to the engineers who were working on it, talked to the flight planners, and discussed it, of course, with management. And we actually launched on the 25th of May with 3 potential ways of covering the workshop to shade it from the sun.
About 7.5 hours after liftoff, as we were rendezvousing with the workshop, the extent of the damage became apparent to us very rapidly. We first confirmed that the one solar wing had completely left the vehicle and was no longer around. We could see the damaged wires at the hinge line, and of course all the gold foil, which normally would have been underneath the heat shield and meteoroid shield, was exposed to the sunlight, and it had darkened on the sun side considerably. Then as we got around to the side where the jammed solar wing was, it became immediately obvious to us that this little tiny metal strap that had torn off the heat shield and meteoroid shield had jammed the solar wing.
Well, the advantages which manned spaceflight offers are in the area of repair and maintenance, which we've demonstrated time and time again on Skylab. As a matter of fact, the whole Skylab series of flights would have been a failure had it not been for the ability of the first crew to repair the space station.
Okay, Pete, we had a little drop out.
Pete and I went down into the workshop, installed the canister that contained the parasol in the scientific airlock. Joe was observing the deployment of the parasol from the command module.
Roger, copy.
I couldn't see the airlock itself, but I could see this funny-looking orange thing, all rolled up and skinny, come pooching out of there. And then Pete said, "Okay, we're going to let her go," and it just started to unfold and did a lot of flopping, and it kind of settled halfway folded and halfway unfolded.
We deployed it as best we could, pulled it back down to us about a foot off, and that was it. It worked quite well for the rest of the mission. I think on about day 4 or 5, we definitely knew that it was no longer an uncomfortable environment. It was warm, but certainly nothing that you couldn't put up with.
Skylab, we're reading you loud and clear over the Vanguard for 8 minutes.
Of course, not having gotten the wing out on our first attempt when we came up there, we really had about half of the electrical capability that we should have had. So it was very, very important to attempt to get that jammed solar panel out.
I think we probably wouldn't have had any Skylab missions had it not been for the fact that man was able to get to the Skylab and to make it habitable and to repair it in such a way that all of the missions were completely successful.
So Joe tried, and then we decided to tighten it up again, and I'd try, and I got under it, and boy, it broke. It let go in one big hurry, and there I was, launched into space again, free-floating, hanging on the end of this string. And, well, by the time I got straightened out again and looked around, why, there it was, out and deployed.
Thus, very early, man's presence proved to be vital.
And he'll start messing
It
up.
would be so in the missions that
Punch the
followed.
button at the proper time. But in areas where you need man's flexibility and his initiative, for instance, in the deployment of the solar wing on the first manned mission, and on the deployment of the sail that was used to provide thermal shading for the workshop on the second mission, and on our mission where we had to resurface the coolant system. or where we had to actually get out and unjam or move the filter wheel in the solar telescope cameras. That's where you need man. You need man up there when you need some freewheeling judgment. And the tasks in space that should be assigned to man are the tasks that require him to use his mind and his abilities, his unique abilities, which certainly can't be covered by programming a computer.
The reason for having a complete package of medical experiments on Skylab, as opposed to the case in the earlier missions where we did our medical stuff primarily before flight and then after flight, was that we were going to fly much longer than we ever had before. We were going to quadruple the amount of time spent by a human being in space, from 14 days to 56 days. And as it turned out, we did better than that, went 84 days on the third flight. The system we expected to change fastest in the body was the cardiovascular system, the heart, the blood vessels, the amount of blood in them and the way they operated. So our number one experiment to stress that system was called lower body negative pressure. Well, we didn't have gravity up there, so we couldn't stand up, and the lower body negative pressure is a substitute for gravity, a way to fake the body out. And we ran that at 4-day intervals throughout the mission, and from the very first time we ran it, it was obvious that there were indeed changes. But the encouraging thing was that these symptoms were present the very first time we did the test, and they didn't get worse as time went on. There was another major dynamic test or stress test that we used to determine our condition in flight, and that was the bicycle ergometer. You simply worked your heart, your muscles, and your lungs to the maximum capacity to see whether they all played together the same way in the absence of gravity. We found that our ability to exercise, our heart's ability to move blood around the body, the cells and muscles' ability to extract oxygen from it, and all the processes that go into a maximum exercise were completely unaffected by zero gravity.
It was also considered important to check the response of the vestibular system, or the little balancing mechanism within the inner ear. And we did this by means of a rotating chair. Now, normally when you sit in this chair and rotate on Earth and move your head, it doesn't take very long before you experience motion sickness. However, up there we noticed that after we were there a few days, it was possible to sit in this chair and rotate almost all day long with no sensation or motion sickness at all.
We took blood samples periodically throughout the flight, mainly to make sure that the hemoglobin level in the blood was maintained at a proper level and that the body was responding properly to lowered levels of hemoglobin or red blood cells, to make sure that there was not some sort of subtle effect taking place in zero gravity that would leave us more or less open to infection, say.
On our mission, we elected prior to the launch to increase the exercise period from an hour to an hour and a half. And this was done mainly on the basis of recommendations of the previous crew. They felt there just was not enough time for a good exercise period, that you really needed more time. We were also bringing up the little treadmill, which was going to require time for use, so we just ended up going for an hour and a half per day exercise. It appears that that decision was a good one, because we came back, I think, in better condition than has any other crew.
The Skylab medical experiments were perhaps one of the most important things we did during the whole Skylab mission. We attempted to take a look at man as he reacted under long-term weightlessness. Whether or not we can extrapolate that 84 days out to several hundred days, incidentally it takes something like 400 days for a typical Mars mission, we don't know right now. But it does indicate that we're on the right way to in assuming that man can exist for long times at zero G.
The sun turns out to be a giant astrophysical laboratory. It is made up of plasma. That's high-temperature gases, which we plan to use down here for many schemes in energy production. And we can use the sun as a laboratory to better understand how plasmas are affected by electric and magnetic fields, how they're moved, what their properties are.
There were a number of really fascinating views available from Skylab in the area of the solar studies, some of them seen for the very first time by human eye. In this case, there was an eruptive prominence on the disk of the sun, which cast out through the solar atmosphere, called the corona, to very, very high altitudes, an expanding gas bubble. This was moving out through the corona at a velocity of about 300 miles per second. And we brought back a number of very fascinating views of these sorts of events.
Well, on our flight, we were fortunate enough to be able to, first of all, record a solar flare from the very beginning all the way through the rise to the end. Based upon the previous experience of the other crews, we were able to figure out what happens before a flare, then beyond target, and getting data as the flare came up.
We also know that when these large flares erupt on the sun, they throw out charged particles which reach the Earth in some 24 to 48 hours. These produce aurora, which we see here on Earth.
Well, the observation of Comet Kohoutek offered an unprecedented opportunity. It was very bright, and most notable was a sunward spike, which was in the opposite direction of the tail, very sharp and pointed towards the sun. Comets are important to science because we are able to observe what we think is primordial matter. That is matter which has been around since the birth of the solar system, if the comet came from the solar system, or if it came from outside the solar system, then it's an opportunity to observe something which was not created with our solar system, but in the regular stellar scheme of things.
We also had several smaller experiments intended to look at the ultraviolet radiation coming from stars throughout the galaxy in which we're in, as well as radiation coming even from other galaxies. And these experiments were extended out the scientific airlock of the Skylab and looked at the ultraviolet radiation coming from the sun, allowed it to be dispersed so the image actually looks like it has a long tail on it, and then he can see just what radiation is coming from each of these stars.
Throughout the 3 manned missions, flight crews evaluated the day-to-day activities of living to see what might be improved in future spacecraft design.
Mobility was, I like to refer to it as the Peter Pan mode. You could really just push off and move around within the workshop. The thing that surprised me most was how quickly we all adapted to being fairly precise.
It's very much like the sensation you get when you're skin diving or just floating around in the water.
Well, as far as working in zero gravity and moving yourself, it was a delight in comparison to 1G on the surface of the Earth.
Once your eyes see something, then you relate to it, and you say, whatever is above my head is up, whatever is below my feet is down. Doesn't matter whether it's the floor or the ceiling.
Every evening after dinner and all the work was done, we always had to take a trip or two around the water ring lockers or just go up there and free fly.
We also found that we could have quite a bit of fun doing tricks and stunts and flips and rolls that weren't possible here on Earth. Food aboard Skylab was a very good treat when compared to earlier space missions. Probably the best feature was the fact that we had the ability through a warming tray to put all of our food out and heat it so that when you sat down to eat, you could eat a variety of foods all at once. Probably the favorite of everybody's up there was ice cream and strawberries.
Of course, it was necessary to clean house up there once in a while, too. All of our air was filtered through a big screen within the orbital workshop. And as the air went through this screen, little particles would collect on the screen, small items that needed to be vacuumed up. And so every day or two, we would vacuum off the screens.
We found housekeeping to be not as difficult as here on Earth. One reason was that we had a planned place for every item.
Personal hygiene-wise, it was necessary for us to perform up there about the same way it is here. We brushed our teeth, we combed our hair, we shaved, we washed, We did have a shower. We found, however, that we could almost keep clean enough by using sponge baths, by washing ourselves off with a wash rag. Although we did use the shower on several occasions, and I think for future space stations, the shower would be a good idea.
We slept in a sleeping bag-like device, which had straps across it, so once you were in the sleeping bag and all snugged up, so to speak, well, you felt very close to what you feel like in bed on Earth.
We had on board, of course, EREP, which is an abbreviation for Earth Resources Experiments Package. The primary purpose of this package was to evaluate the techniques and equipment to be used in studying the Earth's surface.
The Earth Resources multispectral camera consists of a battery of 6 cameras all pointed at the same place on the ground. Now, through using suitable filters on the front of these cameras and putting different kinds of film in there, some susceptible to visible light, some that'll measure infrared light, some that'll measure other frequencies of light, you're able to record what is being radiated from the ground in these different frequency ranges. There's been a lot of significant data gathered in the area of determination of faults. The Southern California area, of course, has been troubled with earthquakes for many, many years, and we're just beginning to really understand the fault structure in that area. We also have got some excellent photography of the fault structure as it extends on down into Baja California. Then over in New Zealand, we got some of the Alpine fault. And we think that possibly better knowledge of the fault systems around the Earth will give us a better understanding of earthquakes, and we can learn to better predict earthquakes.
You can imagine that if we had the ability to forecast weather, literally millions and millions of dollars in crop savings alone would result. And it's just the first step, of course, of weather control.
Okay, yeah, real quick. What he just said, yeah, we did that. Yeah, like, real quick. Using satellites to forecast weather for crop yields. Oh, yeah, no, we do that now. Yeah, very, 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 very important thing to understand. I'm waiting for my food to cook, but that's a very important thing to understand. The reason why it's an important thing to understand is because, if somebody's going to ask you, like, oh, why do we need to do space things? We need to focus on stuff down here. Space thing, that one right there is kind of important if you like to eat food. I saw it, Unity. It was linked yesterday. The the Firefly launch. Yeah, pretty funny. That's so just, yep. Just chiming in real quick. I'll be right back. I gotta go get my food.
We've been able to give them three-dimensional looks at cloud formations in the areas of cyclones, typhoons, hurricanes, and the like. We've given them some photographic data that we think is going to answer a few questions that have never been answered to date anyway on just exactly how the Earth and its atmosphere interchanges energy back and forth.
Food supply is a very important factor for all of us here at home, not only in this country, but for the entire world, of course. First of all, we can survey the amount of land that is devoted to the production of these crops. We can even estimate what the yield is going to be, depending upon what its temperature and rainfall and so on is. Also, we can see where there may be areas of infestation. These instruments photograph the Earth in a variety of different spectral ranges, clear down into the infrared. In other words, some disease like a corn blight may have been started. We can see areas where the forests have had significant infestations. So this all goes together to help us put together a better pattern of the total world production of food and other things of interest to people in this country and overseas as well.
We took a good look at the Falkland current. We could see some of the staining, this plankton blooming, the little organisms that grow essentially in the deep water, and then when the water wells up from below, it brings up this green plankton, and from space it looks like a green stain.
The plankton is sort of the bread of the sea, and it starts the life cycle in the sea, and if you can track the plankton, you can track the smaller fishes, which are going to track the larger fishes, the food fishes, which are good for commercial people. We took some excellent pictures of the drought area of Central Africa, trying to discover the total pattern of the drought, to see if it could be stopped in some way by suitable planting
or suitable cultivation or preventing cultivation of certain areas. So although we don't know the full techniques that would be used in this case, at least we can get a sort of a handle on food production and enhance it in some way.
As far as man-made pollution, I think that probably the most outstanding visual evidence of this is in the Great Lakes. And it starts at the source of the Great Lakes, the western end of Lake Superior, where you can see pollutants along the southern shore of Lake Erie. You can see where every large creek or small river empties into the lake.
We noticed in areas like Mobile Bay and the mouth of the Mississippi River and several other river areas around that you could see the silt moving out into the various harbors and bays around the world. Part of this I think we can probably blame on man because of poor soil conservation practices upstream. Much easier to take a picture or to look down from orbit and try to survey the situation and find the areas most likely to be sites for future oil fields, for example. We think that this technique is going to make quite a lot of energy sources available that just haven't been discovered yet because of the vast surface of the Earth.
The Earth, the Sun, the stars, prime targets for Skylab investigations. But within the workshop, too, experiments and demonstrations covered a broad range of science and technology. In early February 1974, the third crew retrieved for the last time the film, magnetic tape, the samples and specimens for return to Earth. The operational phase of Skylab was nearing a successful end. The ongoing science phase, fueled by the aggregate of data from all three missions, would last for the next several years.
Say goodbye for her. She's been a good bird. Roger, sure has. Okay, gas ascension at 1608. Roger,
I don't think there's any real limit to how long man can stay in space, as long as he never loses sight of the fact that sometime he's going to have to go back to 1G. And if he keeps that in mind and keeps his cardiovascular system and his muscles and his bones toned for that eventuality, then there's no reason to believe that man need worry about how long he spends in space. I don't think there's a limit to that.
We all know that the Earth's resources are limited. And in order to enjoy the benefits of the resources of the Earth that we have enjoyed in the past, we're going to have to learn how to manage what we have more efficiently. We're going to have to learn how to find new resources to improve our quality of life here on Earth.
The solar physics community has about 5 years of very intensive work ahead of them. We have brought back so many thousands of pictures, and this is actually on the order of 100,000 photographs now of the sun, which they have to look through and analyze in order to better understand all of this activity that's going on the sun.
Also, we have operated very extensive and complex equipment in Skylab and established that this is a viable operation, that you can do it. We have learned from Skylab exactly what features are best what features to avoid in the way of designing, say, a spacecraft or space station itself, or even certain pieces of scientific equipment.
I don't think anybody really knows what man's future is at the moment. However, we do know that what man's been capable of doing, and not only has he always done, he's always done it to his advantage. So I think maybe space exploration is just the beginning of man being able to go out to other areas of the universe. And once he's able to go out there, he's going to find uses for it. And he's going to go out there and live, and he's going to populate it, and he's going to make a better life for himself and for the rest of the people of the Earth in doing so.
I think it's a natural question is why explore space? And some people have different views on this. Personally, to my way of thinking, part of human nature is to reach out and explore.
The fact of the matter is, if man stops really stretching himself and extending himself and looking out, then I think that's when civilization will begin to decline. Man just has that inquisitive nature, and it's got to be satisfied.
We're right on the threshold of really a brand new opportunity to explore the solar system and the universe and to increase the value of benefits back here on home.
Spacelab itself, as it is presently conceived, will provide us with a capability which grows on Skylab, expands on Skylab, and provides us with an enormous capability to conduct research in space.
And of course, space exploration provides this spiritual quality. It allows you to go to the unknown and find what's there, and hopefully by doing so, you're going to improve your lot.
To have a guy there to change film, to change programs, to repoint the thing, to fix it when it breaks, to take it out and put a new one in, is in many cases not only the rewarding thing to do, but it's the cheap thing to do.
First, we've explored the moon, and we've now going to explore near space, and finally we're going to explore the solar system. All of this, man plays an integral part.
If our children and our children's children are going to enjoy the same quality of life here on Earth as we have enjoyed in the past, we're going to have to learn how to find new resources and how to manage the ones that we have more efficiently and more effectively.
Of course, Apollo went on to take us to the moon, but it also left us with a tremendous technology to look towards the future. And as far as Skylab is concerned, it represents a definite turning point.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7.
All right, guys, I just got to eat something here. So, you guys already saw this, so I'll get you guys something. I'll get you guys something else here real quick to watch. The Skylab one was cool, though. I had it on in the background while I was cooking tater tots and chicken tendies. Yeah? Yeah? Where's yours? I threw it in the trash. So here, how about this? How about the next Skylab documentary? Here we go. Tater tendies, indeed.
Okay, Story, I'm hanging out here. I've done the work at the PC on the ATM, and I'm hanging out on the side here by this box you wanted me to look over. You see all the Great Lakes, see Detroit, see Windsor, Toledo, see the St. Lawrence River. Okay, for the ATM side room, there's a pretty bright spot over on the very west limb here. It's probably active region 7 or 3. And so we're taking a look over the eye of the to fly. It flies just like the simulator, and maybe a little bit easier.
In the months of August and September 1973, a second crew of astronauts lived and worked aboard the Skylab space station. During that 2-month span, these men generated a staggering amount of scientific data. Data that in some cases will take several years to analyze, and whose impact the scientific world has yet to fully comprehend. For the record, it was the second manned mission of Skylab. But owing to overwhelming success, it might well be called a scientific harvest. July 28, 1973. Skylab, with well over 1,000 Earth revolutions, begins its 75th day in orbit. Except for ground solar observations, its systems have been mostly silent for more than a month, having been powered down when its first tenants departed. Today, the slumbering space station will again be brought to life when the second crew arrives for an extended stay. Their journey will begin at Kennedy Space Center, Launch Complex 39, embarkation point for most of space history. Transportation for the flight is the 2-stage Saturn 1B, which is well along in the pre-dawn countdown.
Who's calling? Hydraulic pressure coming up on fin 2. All right, stand by.
In nearby launch control, the vigil is centered in firing room 3. Here, the staccato of digital readouts tells the launch team that all systems are go. The countdown is smooth, almost routine. For the crew, the lectures, the briefings, the simulations, almost 2 years of intensive training is behind them. Today, they begin the real thing. Navy Captain Alan Bean, senior member of the crew, is Skylab commander. In November 1969, as lunar module pilot of Apollo 12, he walked on the moon. The science astronaut and civilian member is Owen Garriott. He brings to this mission a well-rounded background in science and engineering. The pilot, Marine Corps Major Jack Lausma, who served on support crews for 3 Apollo missions. For the 3 of them, the longest space flight ever is about to unfold.
Get liftoff. We'll be looking for liftoff right at the T0 mark. We passed the 15-second mark in the count. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We have ignition sequence start. All ignitions are running. All engines running. We have a liftoff. Clear the tower.
By all accounts, there had never been a smoother launch sequence. Rendezvous occurred just off the U.S. Pacific coast, almost 8 hours following liftoff.
We were watching that very thing there. Al thinks he'll probably knock off the fly around at this point to avoid blowing that parasol away. Skylab Houston, we've taken a look at both the CSM and the Swiss. They both look good. Go for docking. We're about a minute and a half from LOS. Roger. Okay, we're docked. That went real well.
An oxidizer leak in one of the quad thrusters was the only blemish on an otherwise perfect flight. The leak would mean a slight loss in attitude control on the return flight, but at this point, it appeared to be well within backup control capabilities. Leaving the detailed analysis to ground specialists, the crew wasted no time moving into their temporary home. Within an hour, they had begun restoring Skylab to a living, working environment. Activation consumed the better part of the first week because not everything went according to plan.
I'm back.
I closed the circuit breaker on that beauty and it popped open. And so then I turned the switch off and closed the circuit breaker. Then turned the switch back on and the circuit breaker popped open again. So something's wrong with MOSIP B secondary fan.
Let's try setting it to Wumbo.
To give you a feel where we are at the moment.
All right. That's really cool. Dude, I love how Skylab has like a kitchen table. Go away, we're being entertained. Has a kitchen and a shower and everything. I think that's wicked cool. Anyway. Alright, we can watch the rest of that documentary later. Does some coding and reward himself with chicken tendies. Yeah. Yeah. More brain melting it is. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed those Skylab documentaries. Skylab's really cool. Skylab 2 when? Dude, an EUS Skylab would be really cool. And dude, the EUS is like built for the dang thing. Here. So, we could do something like this with SLS with its new upper stage, the exploration upper stage. So if you're looking at that and you're like, okay, what's so special about that? Well, one, the EUS is freaking huge, man. It's freaking gigantic. There it is with the Orion capsule. Yeah, it's a little bigger. So there's Orion in the Block 1B configuration, or the Block 1 configuration. That's what's on SLS right now. Starting with Artemis, I think it's either 3 or 4. That's the difference. Long story short, that stage could fit inside of the EUS's payload bay. So if you took something like this, right? You took something like this, you made the hydrogen tank a wet workshop, right? Make the hydrogen tank a wet workshop, just like they did with Skylab. Or actually, Skylab is a dry workshop. Technically, it's an inerted upper stage, but you could do the same thing here. You could do the same thing. SLS can put this whole thing into space fully fueled. And if you could put this whole thing into space with payload fully fueled, if you could put this whole thing fully fueled into space with payload, if you had a dry workshop version of this with the LOX tank as a waste tank and the hydrogen tank as a pressurized volume, like Skylab, and then connected it to an airlock array up here with solar panels and whatnot, right? Orion, you could launch it with Orion. Orion could just turn around and dock to it, and boom, you have an instant space station in one launch. And you got to remember, the EUS has reaction control systems on it. It'll have RCS on it, so the space station can boost itself, and then Orion can also pull it around in space. with the universal stage adapter is huge. This is an 8-meter fairing right here. You could do a wet workshop. Yeah, there you go. That's the EUS hydrogen tank right there. It's freaking monstrous. Screw EUS SLS core stage wet workshop. You do the same thing. You could do the same thing, Aqualex. Just put the universal stage adapter. Oh, look. There you go. Exactly like that. What's a wet workshop? A wet workshop is the idea of, I mean, you're sending empty fuel tanks into space pretty much every time you launch a rocket. So if you literally just build a hatch inside of that pressurized volume, so basically build a hatch for your fuel tank, right? When the fuel tank when it runs out of fuel, you're up in space, you turn the capsule around, you dock to it, and then you open the hatch, and now you have a space station made out of a leftover fuel tank. That's what's called a wet workshop. A dry workshop, by, you know, spaceflight definition, is Skylab. Skylab. Nice. Skylab is a dry workshop. It is an upper stage that was converted to be a space station. The pressurized volume here is literally just the fuel. It's just the fuel tanks from an S4B. All they did was put an adapter right here. Apollo astronauts put in, the Apollo engineers put an adapter right there with an airlock, and then a small habitable volume here, and then launched this part that you see right here on a Saturn V, and then used the Saturn 1B to get the Apollo CSM up there. That's right, Halsey. Yep. Need spec? Yeah, we could go into it real quick, but I want to do more coding, but yeah. The Apollo telescope mount here is actually on a gigantic hinge, believe it or not, because when it launched on Skylab, here, check this out. Want to see something pretty cool? So look at this. That's Skylab. That's the space station going up in space. The space station here is here. It starts here. It's literally just an S4B. Must watch this video. Facha has a link there. How would you make the atmosphere livable? With nitrogen and oxygen. They just tested something. Cool. So, check this out. That is the outside of the space station. So, if you're looking at Skylab, that's the outside. The outside is just, it looks like a regular upper stage. It's just got a little bit different paint scheme, and it has nacelles on the side for the solar panels, where the solar panels pop out. And then, from here, the forward skirt of the S4B, where the vehicle stage adapter should have been. So this is where the LEM would have been riding, right? Where the descent stage for the Lunar excursion module was supposed to be, they just mounted, they mounted this structure to it, the airlock, right? And then the instrument package for Earth resource studies. No, the multiple docking adapter is what they had. It had 2 docking rings. Not a lot of people know that. It had 2 docking rings. You could dock a spacecraft here, or you could dock a spacecraft there. They never used the radial one. So right here is where the ascent module, for the LEM would be. And then there would be a cone adapter here. But what they did was put that all inside of a fairing. That fairing that they put on here was an extended version all it is an extended version of a Saturn 1B cargo fairing. There we go. It's just an extended version of that. Literally adapts to the same surface because the Saturn 1B's upper stage is the same as the third stage on the Saturn V. So, they extended it, and they put the cone on it and called it a day. More interesting thing here, if you really want to know, you see that? That's just the stage adapter with a nose cone on it. See this piece right here above instrument unit? See that right there? That's the stage adapter. And then they just took the command module and the launch escape system fairing, and they put that on top of it and made a new fairing. That's all it is. See? That's the CSM LES fairing, just bolted to a vehicle stage adapter. Design commonality. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty damn smart, man. And when they went to launch Skylab, you see it has that kind of two-tiered, that biconic fairing right there. See it? Same thing. Skylab was smart, man. They literally made it out of spare parts. What is this, page 29? Oh, look. Biconic interface. Gee whiz. Skylab has an interior volume of 261 cubic meters. To fill up that volume, an STP would weigh 337 kilos. Wait, what? Did you ever do the Lego MOCs, like for space stuff? Lego MOCs. Yeah, see? It's spare parts, man. Look at that, huh? It's just they put an extension on it. See? No, Toto, not really, no. AKA unofficial Lego sets. Yep. Pretty nuts, huh? Skylab is really smart, man. Really smart. Maybe build a wet workshop out of the oxygen tank and just bring up the nitrogen. Well, what a lot of people in chat are saying is that instead of putting the EUS and making the EUS a wet workshop. Oh man, it's huge. You basically take the core stage and do the same thing. Take the core stage hydrogen tank and make that into a space station. I still think the EUS would be easier to do because then you don't have to modify the core stage, which we already know is pretty damn complicated. I mean, another thing that SLS could do, while we're there, is just take a LOX tank from the core stage, build another one, build that into a space station, build that into a dry workshop, Skylab style, and then just put that on top of this with a fairing instead. You take the forward skirt from the EUS, build a dud LOX tank, right? Use the same decoupling mechanism that the interstage has, but where the forward skirt is. Then you have your space station LOX tank, right? Your space station LOX tank, right? Your dry workshop. And then you could do a universal stage adapter on top of that and literally make this in an entire pressurized volume. It would work. The LOX tank's already core rated. You could, and you're not changing the shape of the vehicle that much. Launch the SLS with the EUS interstage with a cone on top to store stuff for on-orbit conversion. Launch SLS with the EUS interstage, then the universal stage adapter on top. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could do that too. Personally, I mean, find a way to air start or to restart RS-25s. Find a way to restart RS-25s and take the core stage and turn it into a gigantic Martian transfer vehicle. It's a good idea. Shut up. Don't think that it's not. Air starting RS-25s could get complicated, though. Can you imagine turning the entire SLS core stage into like a gigantic Grissom? That'd be pretty cool. Has NASA expressed any interest at all in making wet workshops? Don't know. Anyway, what are the space news links here? I read that RS-25s are still built for recertification. What does that mean? Built for recertification. I don't know. What are they recertifying? What are you trying to recertify? That doesn't make sense. I'm transferring some links over. We'll do a little bit of space news because I haven't done space news at all this week, which is kind of nuts. With the exception of Crew 5 launching, I suppose. But let's see what we got. What do we got? It'll download the video, but SpaceX did a quick disconnect test last night. Oh. Neat. That's pretty cool. So I guess while we're there, SpaceX is doing tests on Starship right now. They're doing tests on a full stacked Starship. Check it out. Holy balls, what the heck are they building here? Yeah, the quick disconnect has since reconnected. Off topic, but I'm excited and I wanted to share. You? Off topic? The game was invited by Steam to join Steam Next Fest. I gotta get things set up for it, but I'm going to accept the invitation. Cool. Congratulations. I don't really know what that means, Falcon, but congratulations. That's cool. There's people on the quick disconnect. Yeah, so we're probably not going to see anything happen here, but SpaceX does have a fully stacked Starship, which is pretty rad. I mean, Steam is promoting his game. Cool. That's good, Flykin. That's really good news. Neat. Oh, yeah, there's a dude up there. You see that little speck right there? That's a person. I wonder what that guy's up to. see that little thing right there? There's a dude right there. Oh my goodness. That's good, Flykin. That's really good news, man. Great. He's putting on the Hoonigan stickers for more horsepower. Makes sense. Oh, you know, hanging up on the air, feeling insignificant. Yep. I never understood the scale of Starship until just now. Arsenal, it's a monster. It is a monster of a vehicle. Look at that. Look at the dude, man. It's a freaking beast, man. There. They're so small. They're so small. It's a small boy. How many people do they plan for Starship to handle again? I think 100. It could do up to 100 Adena sign. The spec is making sure things are up to spec. Yep. He's applying the honk if you love Jesus sticker. Okay. Okay. All right. We'll go back to that in a second. So I figure while we're there talking about Starship. Oh, Falcon Heavy launch date has changed. Oh, that's what you were linking. Oh. Ariane 6 assembly. Okay. Oh, no, I will check that out in a moment. Oh. It already slipped. So that's nice. It was supposed to be the 27th. They moved it to the 31st. Okay. So speaking of Greg Scott, Greg took more pictures today. Check this out. Wait, was that 7 a.m.?
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Wait a minute. No! No! Elon, why? What? The pain. That sucks. What do you mean? Oh my god.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Oh, that sucks. Snake-sama. Help. 83 months, man. Thanks for the resub. Scrub! Scrub again! Damn it! Scrub to the next day! Elon, are you listening? Scrub to the next day! By the way, next spaceflight is reporting at 5:44 a.m. Eastern launch time. Yeah, Alex, yeah, there you go. So why have a dry workshop? Why have a wet workshop? Why not have a dret workshop? Am I right? Am I right? Yeah. Try tweeting at him? Nah, I'm good. Oh, dang it, Bobby. Ask him really nicely. I'm pretty sure we're on the stand. So yeah, okay, here. We got more flyby pictures from Greg Scott here. Let's see what he's got. Hire another EJ. Yeah. Yeah. Tabik, I remember I was saying, like, you know, there's probably going to be... This looks like it's set up for mass production of segments, and they're going to... There's another tower there. Is that a chopstick cable track? Yeah. Yes, it is. Is that a raincoat? Yes, it is. You like space exploration technologies? Their early stuff was okay. But when Falcon 9 launched in 2010, they really came into their own, commercially and artistically. They've been compared to the Apollo program in terms of pace in the past, but I find that SpaceX, being a commercial company, has something up on the Apollo program. The inability for the program to be canceled at any one time. Hey, chat! Could be for the oil rig one prod, yeah. I used to be a renegade. I used to fool around. But I couldn't take the punishment and had to settle down. No? Now I'm playing it real straight. I guess I cut my hair. Did I walk in at the wrong time? No. No. What's with the newspaper on the floor, EJ? You got a dog, a little chow? No, chat. Is that a raincoat? Yes, it is! All right. So, guys, they're clearly going to build another Starship launch pad somewhere. I don't know if these are for the oil rigs or not, but and the other thing is you can definitely tell that this is the first segment for a new tower because of the bump stop. See the bump stop right there for the chopsticks? So that's the chopstick track, right? And the carrier will go down and it stops. It rests on that. Rumor has it it's going to Slick 47. Can you check how big it is? Slick 47. Slick 47? Why am I blanking on that? Why did they paint the chopstick track for this one but not the Boca one? I think the Boca one is the prototype Tomast. And whatever they learned from that, they applied to these newer Starship pads, which is kind of crazy. Slick 47 is an antenna location, was used for sounding rockets. Now I'm playing it real straight. I guess I cut my hair. You might think crazy, know that I'll beware. There's no denying that it's hip to be square. Dude. Hey, it's the United States. I go to the university. The University of the United States. Oh, we are very small. We do not even have a basketball team. More tower segments are being arranged at Hangar X at Kennedy Space Center. I was told they are building a launch tower at Pad 40. These could be for that. It was assigned here, but as you know, things are in flux. Who is this? Okay, who is this? From what I understand, Slick 47 will only be used to catch. I think Slick 47 is likely for only catching, but who knows? What was 47 used for? Sounding rockets. This is sounding rockets. They put range equipment here now, if I'm remembering correctly. That's the pad over there. Only used for catching, huh? Okay, guys, I'm gonna float something. I'm gonna float something out here. Get it? Coding things. All right, cool. So NASA is against a 70-meter bomb heading for LC-39. Float away. You think... I agree with landing boosters at Complex 39. What about here? The old site where the mobile service tower for Titan used to rest. Tower going up here, going this way. Or, I mean, I don't think they'd go next to the lightning towers, but maybe they'd build the tower right here. And then have the structure at 40 up here like this and catch over the concrete right here where once again, see these tracks right here and then see the stops and see how there looks like there was a building right here. That was the site of the Slick 40 mobile service tower. The MST was used to vertically integrate payloads onto Titan. I don't think SpaceX wants to interrupt an active pad when they do need to do a lot of launches. NASA doesn't like Starship facilities being close to a crew launch tower for Dragon, but they don't like it, Forge, but also there is one right next to 39. Isn't that why they're building a crew tower at 40? Exactly, T-Money. That's what I'm getting at, dude. That doesn't really jive too well with what we've been told. Gerst the other day, Bill Gerstenmaier, he's like a chief engineer at SpaceX. I forget his job title offhand, but he was saying that they're going to outfit 40 for crew launches. People will be able to launch from 40, and that's confirmed from Gerst. He said that, so that's concrete. We know that is information. Now, guys, what I'm thinking here, okay, so, you know, let's play off the fact, let's do some reasoning here, right? Like, if we were figuring out code. Slick 47 is literally a concrete slab. Sounding rockets were launched from it way back in the day. Nothing is launched from it. It's basically, in like 50 years, it's basically a field for range sensing equipment, right? As of right now, it can't go past 39A. The bridges are not big enough to roll one of them segments. As of right now, it can't go past 39A. The bridges are not big enough to roll the segments. Hey, Maverick, how far is 40 from the new factory? Well, Roberts Road is right here. See this? See that right there? It's right where the mouse is. Goalie could... Okay. All right, you're right. That's right. There's no way a segment is going to make it over that bridge. It's going to exceed maximum volume of that bridge right there in Gator Hole. There is a radius here, though. But I would assume that that's probably for the Falcon 9 transporter. That's why they put that there. So barge them from the turning basin to the SRB dock. Check back to the segments being built right now. Do they have the chopstick sliders? Do they have the chopstick sliders? Yeah, of course they do. They have the tracks for it. Yeah. That rail line was one of the access lines to get into the ITL causeway. Those tracks are not used. At least I don't think they are. They haven't been used in a really long time. Because Aqualex, this happened here because they really didn't do an EIR when they built that spur line. Turns out that building train tracks right by the seashore, especially on this sandy area right here, is really prone to erosion from hurricanes. Yeah. Funny story. So they used to bring in RP1 for 39A and 39B this way. See, that rail line used to go this way. And a hurricane came through, and yeah, that was the end of that. The tracks used to go all the way up here, and see, they would go right there, and go into 39B, right where the hydrogen tank is. And where the hydrogen tank is for right now is where the RP1 loading facility was. But it looks like they could also do hydrogen as well. And that line goes up here, and it would have taken a left at Playa Linda, right before Playa Linda Beach. It goes that way. The tracks are intact all the way up until the gate. Yeah, it turns out when you build something on a shoreline that's really prone to hurricanes, when a hurricane comes, you lose the tracks. Yeah. Yeah, that happens. Yeah. That's just like the kind of the case with most things that you build near shorelines that are prone to hurricanes, but
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Would you be able to use the railbed to transport segments? I doubt it. Upgrade plans for the roads. This is being requested by Blue, SpaceX, Blue and SpaceX as well. Well, what I was gonna do is, yeah, we were gonna go and we were gonna check this out. That road, specifically that bridge, Yeah, they want to upgrade it because the roads are good. Yeah, I know some, but it's interesting, right? Huh. Okay. Huh. 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 Look, another radius. Huh. Okay. I'm just looking at the roads, dudes. Yeah, goalie, there's really no other way to get that thing in there. Hey, I've driven on that radius, yeah. Yeah, no, you could sit and look at this all day. Yeah. I've been all down in here. I've been all up in this. I've walked on 34. I've been inside the Delta Operations building. Well, that's not Delta Operations. It's Delta Integration. The dock is down here. Delta Operations Center is over there. What if we try to plot a new route from the factory? That's what I'm doing, Maverick. So there's really only two ways to... Well, there's three ways to go. The first way is through 39A, via the 39A causeway, or 39A crawlerway, I should say. That bridge is not heavy enough to move... It's not big enough to be able to... Or it might be, I don't know. Maybe it's big enough to move the segment. The road is not rated for that kind of load. But it clearly can take a first stage because of that radius right there. Right? So if that's the case, that gives you pretty damn good access down here past Slick 41 right to Slick 40. What I'm thinking, dudes, is that they're using LC 47 as a staging area. Because it makes sense, because if you look at this right here, I was told they're building a tower at pad 40. The lightning tower cables disagree. Was a sign here, but as you know, things are in flux. I'm thinking they're using that as staging. But why use that for staging when you have a parking lot right here? Yeah, see, yeah, none of this is really concrete. I mean, that parking lot is, but... Interesting. Interdasting. TJ said those tower segments weren't for Slick 40 when I talked to him, but things are always in flux. Wait, could that parking lot take the pressure? I don't know, man. I'd assume it would be able to take more pressure than a dirt field. Also turn off the 3D view. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. This is pretty damn recent. August 27th.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Dude, look. Okay, Vulcan, the first thing that caught my attention is... You think they launch a lot of rockets from here? Holy crap. It's down to frickin'... It looks like it's down to bedrock. That's ridiculous. Look at the ground. Looks like it's been on fire, which is pretty much what's going on. They put out a permit to concrete that. Yeah, good call. Hey, Serenity, 13-month resub, and Hawk with a 40-month resub. Just got here. What's going on at the Cape? Well, we are looking at some some pictures from Greg Scott's flyby at Boca Chica. Or not Boca Chica, at Kennedy. And check this out, Prey. Look. The tower at 39A is stacked. It's the full height. The hell is this? This is a single segment. This is the first segment. So the Starship catch towers make up 9 segments. We have 18. We've seen 18. This is 19, and that's 20 right there. The 18 segments are, nine segments. Yeah. Is it 9 or is it 7? I forget. Long story short, there's one tower at Boca Chica and there's one at 39A. We're trying to figure out where this is going. He says the site specifically for doing this sat image crawling and pulls recent historical imagery all the time for it. Oh, Harry. Yeah, I know about Harry. Yep. Yeah, but it was for a sounding rocket, Aqualex. Yeah, hey, Defiant, 36-month resub. Thanks, man. Look in the parking lot of Slick 40 for an interesting bit of history. Yeah, I know the Falcon 9's there. Yeah, I knew that was there. 7.
Discovery, go at
73 gifted 2 subs. Thanks, man. All right, well, let's use the updated imagery and let's go look at Complex 47.
Discovery, go at throttle.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Reserve tower in case of a RUD? I haven't heard about this from the grapevine, so it's either really recently or it's the Slick 40 crew tower. Do you know any other Easter eggs like the Falcon rocket in the car park? If you look around the Space Center with this updated images, yeah, I could point out all kinds of funny stuff. So this is the former Titan ITL solid rocket motor assembly facility. It's called the SMARF for short, and that name kind of stuck. You just go peeling through here every once in a while, you might see some things hanging out outside that you might recognize. Worth noting, no contract has been signed for LC-47. It's still considered active by the U.S. military. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think we can really say conclusively yet. We did see Falcon 9 fairings, just chilling, and there's their carriages right there. I think, yeah, guys, Forge, that's what sounds right. I think they're just building them, and they'll figure out where it goes. Worth noting, yeah, okay. Birds too. Oh yeah, birds everywhere. Yeah, for those unaware, SpaceX uses that for payload integration. Yeah, they put payloads together. Yep. For Slick 40. Well, actually, they put payloads together for any Falcon 9 launching. It just depends where it goes. That's a thought. Could they be deciding just to use the Starship towers or Prosser towers for Falcon 9? I don't think so, because they wouldn't put the chopstick tracks on it and the chopstick bump stop, Aqualex, right? Like, they wouldn't do that. Why would they do that if it was for Falcon 9? You know what, fellas? I'm going to propose the most radical idea. Just because we can. What if Slick 40's crew tower and the next Starship tower are the same thing? Exactly, Aqualex. That's exactly my point. How do we know what Elon Musk thinks tasty wheat tasted like? Maybe what we think tasty wheat tasted like, Elon thinks, that tastes like eggplant or tuna fish. The Lightning Tower cables, though. Because the Lightning Towers will be relevant when you install a 500-foot tower next to them. Moment you think you got it figured, you wrong. See, I saw somebody on Twitter say that too, Thomas. Oh, well, the Lightning Tower. It's SpaceX's property. They can take down the towers if they want. Just bowl them over and put the Starship Tower in its place. Besides, the Lightning Towers are going to be useless if they put a Starship Tower right next to it. They're going to be useless. Now think about it. There's a huge concrete structure right here. I think it was a former payload assurance room or something. If they routed that damn tower right there, you could put a quick disconnect on it and mount it in this. That's a crew access arm for Falcon 9, and mount it the same way you mounted the quick disconnect, so it doesn't interfere with chopsticks, and then you catch boosters over here, or you could put an OLM right there. Eventually, this is all solid ground. It was designed to hold up a Slick 40 mobile service tower. A building that was not exactly light. The Titan mobile service towers looked ridiculous. They were huge and just, yeah, look. What a weird looking building. That thing is heavy as hell. What about the tower's feelings, though? Yeah, I don't know, man. Dragon has the door on the other side. Thomas, how can you say that would be the constricting factor when SpaceX has something like the quick disconnect for Starship rolling around? That tower would fit in a big white building also. Yeah, right. Wait, the tower would fit in a big white... Don't you dare, goalie. Don't you dare. Dude, I am not even kidding. Don't you dare suggest that. Don't you play with my emotions like that, man. Yeah. Ooh. Those pictures, though. Very nice. I'll be reading that one later. Yeah, no, there's some pretty good pictures in that. Goalie, that tower would fit in a big white building. Guys, I got another one. Look, I'm just saying, I mean, it's a shame that one of the two crawlers is just sitting out there not being used. Fellas, remember how we were talking about how making Starship, like roll out of the VAB doesn't make any sense? Well, Thomas, you and Forge both said that SpaceX wants to make another tower that's just for catching. It'd be really nice if, in the event of a RUD, you could bring that tower inside and fix it. Mobile catch tower. You think so? You think? No. I'm letting my space geek affect my judgment. There's no way. There's no way, man. I mean, you need a tower that can move around. They don't want it near 39. What about this? This stretch of road is just fine. Just move it right there and have it catch over here. Okay, but what about a mobile launcher that's dedicated for HLS? They don't want the road destroyed either. Oh, because we're gonna worry about a rocket, wrecking the road that can literally take 15 million pounds of force exerted on it at any given time. I'm pretty sure it'll be okay. The tower at 39A isn't painted like the new tower. Vulcan, one of the ideas that I thought SpaceX would be doing, one of the ideas that I thought they could do is right here. Right here, we measured this one time. So this is just a weird thought exercise. Right there, you're wide enough for a mobile launcher to fit through there. So if SpaceX graded this terrain, went past the BDA building, right? The BDA security, you know, and just extended the crawler way this way, it lines up perfectly where Starship's pad is. Because that's where Starship's pad is at 39A. It's right where that crane is. So you might not, I mean, a mobile launcher, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work. Who knows? I think I was here for this about them putting the crawler way. They could extend the crawler way that way. The other thing that we discovered, Vulcan, is that they could literally just move the HIF right here. Just put the HIF right here and make the thing turn like how it works at Vandenberg. Just make it turn. And then you bring 39A crawler access back online. And I know what people are going to say. Oh, that wasn't the point to get it away from 39A? If Slick 40 has crew launch capability, I can only, which we know, once again, that's concrete information. Because SpaceX, representative at SpaceX, Gerst said they were going to do it themselves. Like, that was a primary source. If they're going to build that pad at 40, or a crew access tower at 40, I think it's reasonable to presume that they're probably going to take 39A offline at some point for crew launches, because they're going to... What? What do you think? Build the mobile service tower for Falcon Heavy? Well, if you're going to do that, right? If you're going to build that MST for Falcon Heavy, well, guess what? 39A's flame trench is freaking huge. Why don't you build a catch tower over here on the other side of the MST, or build one over here, or put one on the side and have Starship just pipe its exhaust right into the flame trench? I still find it an abomination that they built on the crawlerway to begin with. Agreed. Agreed, passing. I hate that building exists. 2 right now, Clayton. Don't forget about the vertical integration tower. My space nerd is saying just put it on the CT on the crawler and move the crawler around to catch it. Have a mobile launcher just grab Starship from the static catcher. Yep. Does Falcon Heavy become obsolete once Starship is proven? Falcon Heavy is flying until at least 2028, Hotbox, but for the most part, yes. I never got over your love for the space stuff. Narkberry, this is my jam, dude. I love this. No, MCT. At least I think that's what Bandit was saying. No. So, like, you guys gotta remember, if they're using a catch, right? If they were just going to use a catch tower, it doesn't need to have a flame trench or anything. Heck, Starship doesn't need to have a flame trench or anything to launch. So presumably it could be from anywhere. If they extend the crawlerway out here, right? You have a launcher, and then you have a catching platform right here, and have this one dedicated for catching. If that one gets messed up, you could still launch Starship. How about you draw some lines on that big circle and see how size compares at 39A4? Holy moly. Eh. Oh. Oh. Well, when you look at it like this, geez. See how the crawler lines up? Lines up with that goalie? Yeah, well, that's what I've been saying, dude. It pretty much lines up exactly. You could weed in a crawler way through here and have the CT just go out here and have a mobile a mobile launcher Starship tower. Dude, I've been saying that for years. SpaceX should use the VAB. If your tower gets damaged, you could roll it into the VAB, and the service gantries on the VAB would be able to fix things instantly. You don't need a huge freaking crane. What's broken you in the last minute? No, dude. I've said in the past that, it makes sense for SpaceX to build starships inside of the VAB. It makes perfect sense. And it makes even more sense to take one of these things, take a Starship catch tower, and literally put it on a mobile launcher. And have the crawler move it around. It makes sense. Also, if it is indeed a catch tower only, we shouldn't see any cryogenic pipes getting staged at Roberts Road. Okay. Couldn't end up needing different catch towers for each stage just to keep up the cadence. Huh. The catch tower would probably be shorter than the normal tower. Corey would pretty much... How many segments is the tower? Seven and 2/2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chad, how tall? How tall is one of these? There are platforms there, but they're not using them. How tall is one of these segments? Yeah, see, they're not using it. There is a spot to stage, but there's a spot to stage over there to build segments, but they're not using them right now. How tall is one of the full segments? They're 18 meters a pop. 456 feet. So assuming, let's say we assume about, I don't know, goalie, how far is the deck of the ML off of the ground? 50 feet? 60 feet? SpaceX has about 400 feet to play with if they were going to use the door. Each one of those, there, I see 6 segments being built right there. 6 times 5 is 30. They're only building 6 segments here. Subtract the launch mount from the tower height. Won't need it on the catch, so only go lower. Sparks the, yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other thing, dude. This thing only needs to be as tall as a super heavy, because it's not stacking if it's catching, right? Frick me. They're going to build a catch tower, and it's going to be able to go in the VAB. Can't prove it. Obviously, I can't prove it. It's just a theory, but it'll fit, goalie. Yeah, see? They're only staging 6 segments right here. 6 full segments, guys. Clearly, this is for chopsticks, right? Mobile catch tower. Do you think they will build a 7th, as there are a set of base feet lying in the back? I see them over there. It depends. We'll see. We'll see if they build another segment. Guys, they have enough room to build a 7-segment tower, but I see 6 full segment jigs right there. There's 6 full segment jigs, and then the 2 half segments, right? Farther back. I see him right there. Unless that's not what you're talking about. Top right corner. I see them right there. Yeah, those are the base segments. So those are going to be attached to the bottom of this. Further up. Further up. Oh, the jig pieces. These things. Oh, you're talking about the okay, so these the rusty plates right here are the jigs. They build the segments on those. But also, look, it's very clear that they're staging segments here. Do you think they would put pieces on top of the place where they're about to stage a jig to build one of these things? That doesn't make any sense. Sounds like the 7th set of feet. How would it be connected with the mobile launcher? I don't know. You'd have to build an ML deck. Or SpaceX is modifying one of the MLPs inside of the VAB right now, and we just can't see it. Could be one or the other. But also at the same time, we know that there's going to be a 3rd OLM. We saw a 3rd... Here, I'll show you another thing. There's also an extra crawler transporter. There's 2 of them. By the way, NASA's only using one of them right now. And SpaceX is known to buy ex-NASA hardware and use it. I didn't know it was a jig. It makes more sense. Yep. There's an MLP in the VAB. There's MLs in 2 VAB high base. The mobile launcher is in ML high bay 1, and there's a mobile launcher in high bay 2. High bay 1 is still configured for the shuttle, believe it or not. They just stopped using it. This one over here is configured for nothing, but it does have a shuttle mobile launcher platform in it. The MLPs are the launch decks for, they're the launch decks for the rockets. Mobile launcher platform, MLP. Here. If we go to 2015, there's one right there. SpaceX could have just bought this. Can Slick 37 host a Starship tower? I don't see why. Only one got cut up. The one that Northrop Grumman was going to use for Omega got cut up. The other two are in the high bays. I know that for a fact. How much would your mind be blown if it came out in a decade or so that Elon got an idea from the stream? It would make me happy. It would make me very happy, and then I'd promptly be like, hey, can you just pay off my mortgage, please? That's all I want. You don't even need to give me credit. Just pay off my mortgage. My idea. Please. It'd be cool, though. At the very least, I'd be honored. So SpaceX adding another crazy project to the list. I've been processing lumber for cutting boards. Well, okay, Hellfish, we started noticing things, okay? So these pictures of Greg Scott's flyby here. So check this out. It's the Starship VAB theory again, dude. But remember when last time we talked about the Starship VAB theory? Like, what, SpaceX is going to stack Starship inside of the VAB to roll it to a pad, take it off of the Starship mobile launcher and put it on the orbital launch platform? That makes no sense. The last time we talked about it, we came to the conclusion that SpaceX would stage Starships inside of the VAB if they were going to use it. Right? If they were going to use it, that would make sense. So, check this out. They're building another one. The tower at 39A is completed for Starship. It's the maximum height. You don't need any more of these segments. They capped it. They put the pulley hoist on the top. The diamond-shaped piece, that's already up there. And the pad, these obviously aren't going to Texas, right? And that's clearly a tower segment with a chopstick bump stop on it. See the angled piece right there? And then the chopstick track. So this is clearly going to be used for Starship. But Starship towers are 7 segments with 2 half segments. I had to ask chat like 8 times to get those numbers right off the top of my head. How many jigs do you see being staged here? Take a look. How many jigs do you see being staged? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 jigs. And then a half piece for the bolts. See the bolts right there? Could be replacement parts. Tessa, why would they build tower segment 1 as a replacement part? They're going to take apart the entire tower just to replace one segment to put it back together? How tall is the VAB? 525 feet tall, Clayton. Not using all 4 doors in the VAB right now. NASA uses 1. The other doors are used for ventilation. I'm not even kidding. They open them and create a draft inside of the VAB so clouds don't form inside of it. Yeah. The rectangular concrete slabs do continue, but not the parts. See, there's slabs right there. There's slabs right there, but you wouldn't stage parts to build something on these slabs that you're going to use to build parts later. That's just bad logistics. And SpaceX is not bad at logistics, right? So I did a little digging here. If you have a 6-segment tower with 2 half segments and it's high enough to build a launcher deck for like a crawler to go underneath it and grab it, right? It'll fit. It'll fit inside of the VAB. Now, why would you want a shortened tower then? It wouldn't be able to put it together a full stack. Tower ain't being used to launch Starship. It's being used to catch it. And then, if you think that this tower is just going to be a receiving tower for Starships and Super Heavies, then it starts making a lot more sense. then it starts making a lot more sense. You would want your tower that's going to receive rockets. Obviously, it's going to receive rockets. It's going to get damaged, right? You would want your tower that's receiving rockets to be able to be moved around. And if you could take it inside and fix it and replace it with another one, then you never have to worry about downtime. You launch from the tower at 39A, and then you literally put a Starship catch tower on top of a mobile launcher platform. So the crawler, if it gets damaged, it can pick it up and just move it right back into the VAB and then grab another one and bring it out. Hey, Al, thanks for the raid. This tower is only 6 segments. That is enough to fit inside of the VAB. The cranes in the VAB can also pick those segments up for quick changeability. Holy shnikes, goalie. You think? You think they'd do it? That makes sense, dude. You think they'd do it? You think they'd do it? Oh, I just had another one. Yo. Hey, Al, thanks for the raid, man. I just had another one. Guys, remember how I said the best way, if you LC-49, right? The notional LC-49 up here. We've seen NASA hint that SpaceX has interest in having a dedicated Starship launch complex. I've said in the past that if you're going to build another launch pad here, it makes sense from a logistics and infrastructure point to just extend the crawlerway out. Why? Well, extending the crawlerway would be about 1.5 miles of heavy infrastructure that you have to put in here, and you already have a good staging area to build an industrial road out here for something like as big as Starship, right? The crawlerway can carry heavy loads down it because it's a heavy industrial road, pretty much as heavy as you can get for an industrial road design. Building 1.5 miles of that is not the equivalent of building 3 miles of heavy industrial infrastructure to the nearest point this way. Plus, this road carries all the heavy infrastructure, power needs, plumbing, and not to mention it can move. This road has a load capacity over 15 million pounds with the crawler transporter. If SpaceX is going to make mobile catching towers, it makes sense, more so, that future Starship launch complexes will be connected into the crawlerway. And where's the mobile crawler going to place it? It could just... It's a good question. Let me go back over here. So if you look down here, let's go. They're not around. They're not in this picture. Give me one moment. Let's see if we can back it up just a little bit, see if we can get a clean picture. There are extra pegs to hold up the mobile launchers, dudes. The mobile launchers sit on 6 pegs. There's 3 on each side. These pegs are... The pilot dowel on the peg is like the size of a fire hydrant. The entire peg looks like probably like a meter-wide pillar or something. I think the catch tower is much less complicated than a launch tower. It doesn't need all the plumbing in the umbilical, so a catch tower could be replaced a lot faster than a launch tower. Risk management. Yeah. Sneezer Snook. Yes, exactly. That makes perfect sense. That's a perfect use case for the VAB. Because then they're simpler. You can make more of them. Oh, and if a Starship crashes into it and it blows up and you lose the catch tower, okay, just build another one and roll it out. No problem. Using mobile launchers with that is really, really smart. That's a really good way to do things. They could set it down on pegs. The pegs are around here somewhere. Here, I'll show you them at 39A. See them right there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I've seen these things up close. They're gigantic, but I know there are extra ones lying around. I've seen them. I just don't really know where they ended up. Actually, we could check one place. I want to check over here. Any of those pegs left? Oh yeah, maybe some. Maybe them right there. Who knows? Oh, they also could be over here. Nope. You'll know them when you see them. They're huge. I don't know. Some pictures of High Bay 1. Oh. Anyway, NASA has a junkyard lying around, and they probably have the holding pegs for it. Yeah, always, Clayton. In that case, the catch tower is busted, so you still have the option to catch them on the launch pad. Was there not a plan for 39C during Apollo? Yes, there was, John. They were going to build 3 pads, but then decided they didn't want to. But they put in the future-proofing just in case they ever wanted to expand. And that future-proofing came with the wiring and everything that you need to basically build a duplicate of 39A or 39B. And if SpaceX is going to use the crawler transporter and make a catching tower that's just designed to catch starships, that's something that's quick and easy to build, or relatively easy compared to an actual launch platform, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense for SpaceX's long-term goals to use the crawler transporter for prototype catching towers. Where else can you take an entire damaged launch pad, move it somewhere else, replace it, and have a good launch pad ready to go? That's part of the reason why the Apollo program built clean pad designs. Because if a Saturn V blew up on the pad and you lost the ML, oh great, crawler transporter takes it, moves it over there. Okay, here's another one, good to go. It's also the reason why they built 2 pads. A friend of mine was at Marshall today and found these guys prepared for flight. Nice. Where's the shuttle runway in relation to 39A? Over there. Sorry for the simple question, but why are these grab towers needed if the ship can land itself? It catches it, dude. Starship, when it lands into the these 2 catching arms. SpaceX calls them chopsticks. So Starship will come down, it'll hover, and then they'll move the arms in, and it'll land on that. There's a picture, and if you think like, oh, the SpaceX isn't going to do it, that's not a render. That's in Texas right now. I'm saying they're going to build something like this, but it's only going to have the catching arms on it. It's not going to have the quick disconnect or any of the stuff to launch the entire vehicle. How will they remove the other one on 39A because it has concrete below it? Rebuild it? What do you mean, Tomas? You lost me. Guys, the more and more I think about it, the more and more I think that makes sense. But once again, this is just a theory. To move the other one if it gets damaged. How will they remove the other one on 39A because it has the concrete below it and rebuild it? I think that the tower that's at 39A, Tomas, I think they're only going to use for launching starships. I don't think they're going to try to use it for catching right off the bat. Which also explains why it has shortened chopsticks. Here, look at this shot by Greg. The chopsticks that they're making They're right there. They're shortened compared to the ones at Boca Chica. See? They're a lot shorter. They're half. The chopsticks do have the catch hardware on them, though. Now the light bulb clicks. Well, isn't the catch hardware just the same thing? Wouldn't they be using the same thing to catch it as they would to integrate, Phil? What are the tolerances of the catch system? I'm wondering what would happen if they missed the landing a bit. I don't know, Ben. SpaceX really needs to work on those guidance systems. Now the light bulb clicks. Goalie, are you just saying that, or am I actually figuring this out? You can't screw with me like this, man. That's because they ain't gonna catch him. Well, Patine, they clearly it warrants enough for SpaceX to clearly want to mass produce these catch towers. So I think they might agree with you on that one. If the booster catch failed, they need a catcher for Starship. Yeah, so you'd always want 2 catch towers staged as an alternative landing site. Holy shnikes, that makes perfect sense. These are shortened. These are shortened because the 39A tower ain't going. It's not going to catch anything for a little while. It's only designed to launch. So they don't need a longer chopstick. But someday, when they perfect the landing, they won't need a longer chopstick. He did say farewell to arms, Patine, didn't he? Let's keep an eye out for how much stuff they install on this segment. If we see them finish this segment and start moving it, and it doesn't have, somebody said it already in chat, it doesn't have cryogenic fuel lines on it, well, there you go. But I think SpaceX is going to, it's kind of, maybe I'm just letting my want for SpaceX to use the VAB because I think that would be really cool, cloud my judgment, but it does make sense, which is kind of weird. I don't see any cryo pipes, do you? I see the paraphernalia for catching, though. Virginia. So if this tower is 7 and half of it means it won't be mobile. If tower is 6 and half of it, it means it won't be mobile. Thomas, what? Who are you listening to? How did you get that from what I said? Wait a minute. How did you get that from what I said? I literally said the opposite of that. This tower looks to be only 6 segments tall. So it's 6 and 2 halves. The full tower is 7 and 2 halves. You have the top segment and the bottom segment. And then 7 full-length segments inside. So it's kind of 8 total. This one, from the staged hardware that I see there, I see 6 full-length segments and a bottom segment. No top segment. Not yet, at least. So I'm saying they're building a smaller tower that'll fit inside of the VAB. If they're only building a 6-segment tower with a cap section on the top and a base segment at the bottom, and you put that on a mobile launcher, crawler transporter should be able to pick that up and move it, no problem. They are, JW. I wonder if SpaceX is going to take interest. Maybe. I doubt it though, JW. They're kind of busy with Starship stuff. What's the topic? Guys, so SpaceX is building more tower segments. They're building more tower segments for Starship. The tower segment at 39A for Starship is complete. The tower segment at Boca Chica has been complete for some time. It's literally right there. See that cap segment up there at the top? Right? It's very clear from these flyby pictures from Greg Scott that SpaceX is building more tower segments. The question is, what the hell are these for? You already have 2 Starship pads. Neither of them have launched anything. So what are these for? And we've been brainstorming with a couple of viewers here, and we're brainstorming the idea that these tower segments, the tower segments are for catching towers. They're for catching towers only. So basically the chopsticks and the chopsticks have a shortened tower that's literally only is designed to receive boosters and not launch them, right? And if you look right here, they're building more tower segments, but they clearly haven't staged enough jigs here to build a full tower segment. They're building 6 of these full-length segments instead of 7 like they usually do. There's a bunch of junk and everything over the other spots where you would build these things. See the concrete pads right there, and right there, and right there? So whatever this is, it's not a full-sized Starship tower. It's not that. It's going to be, that thing will probably be about this tall, right here. It's missing a full-length segment. Actually, so there's a segment, there's a segment. That thing will be this tall. So, actually, that tall is right at the upper. That thing's right at the upper movement of the chopsticks, but it would need to go higher to pick up Starship up and over. So it can't go. Yeah, see, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, you can't. A six full segment tall tower wouldn't be able to integrate a stack. So what the heck is that thing doing? It's a catch tower. It's designed for catching only. And if they're designing catch, so okay, so all right, they're making catch towers. Like, let's just play off that notion. And a couple of you are, the good thing about a naked catch tower is if you do blow up the launch tower, 3 months, you turn that landing tower into a launch tower. And the depot, yeah. So we have smaller catching towers here for Starship that are just designed to receive. They're not nearly as complicated, right? Because you don't have the fuel lines or anything going up for the quick disconnect because it's shorter, right? Because you're not going to launch anything from it. What about the oil rigs? If the oil rigs are in Texas, why would they build these in Florida, Hibbit? That makes no sense. You're just adding logistics. You're going to bring all this stuff to Florida just to bring it back to Texas? That makes no sense, right? So we were kind of floating some ideas. Okay, so where would these catch towers go? Where would the catch towers go? See, we followed some Twitter leads here and there, and we figured out that, there's whispers of LC-47, which was a sounding rocket launch complex that hasn't been used in years. Why would you put a catch tower here? The second part of that is if they were building the tower segments now, they wouldn't be able to get them there in the first place. You can't move heavy infrastructure out there. The reason why, the bridge can't take the load. I have that from a guy who does heavy hauling. And I know for a fact that that bridge can't take the load because the guy that does heavy hauling works on that road. Let's put it that way. So then we kind of brainstormed an idea. Okay, maybe it's for 40, but you can't get it there's no other way to get to 40 with heavy infrastructure from where they're building it. SpaceX is building that thing over here. The tower segments are right there. See the jig pieces for them right there? See? This is how tall a 6-segment thing would look next to the stack. Yeah. Huh. So we got to thinking, if it's not going to be for 40, and it's definitely not for 47, right? Like they literally can't move them out there. The road infrastructure is not big enough to move it out there. It would be like trying to build the Empire State Building in the middle of Kansas. Like, I mean, maybe that would work, but it's a lot of material to build in the middle of a cornfield, right? You'd need new highways, train lines. You'd need a bunch of stuff being made. So what's the furthest that this could possibly go? The furthest north that the segments can go, if they're trying to get close to that, is literally 39A. So that got us thinking. 39A, where Starship's launch tower is, it's right there. You can see it in this picture. See the shadow? If that's the furthest that they can take these segments, and they're building more segments right now, we went back to kind of a fan favorite theory. Well, maybe it's not a fan favorite. Maybe it's just mine. Maybe SpaceX is building these shortened towers that are designed for catching operations only to be able to be moved around on the crawlerway. Think about it. It makes sense when let's just brainstorm the idea. If you're going, yeah, no, they're not doing that. Okay. SpaceX has all this extra space right here. You're telling me that they wouldn't be able to just move one of the catch towers like right here and then have Starship come down and land? Oh, what? The rocket's flames are going to cause a problem? Because, they have flame deflectors on Starship's actual pad, right? No, they don't. No, they don't. If they are building these smaller segment towers like that, and those smaller segment towers are designed to be moved around on an ML, that means they could replace them really easily in case, I don't know, a Starship crashed into one during a catch attempt. Or a Super Heavy crashed into it during a catch attempt. You just literally lift the whole thing up and move it to the VAB. And then if you had another one, you could just roll it out. You don't have to worry about it. That's literally the reason why they built 3 mobile launchers during the Apollo program. In case a Saturn V blew up on one, they could replace it really easily. What about environmental concerns? Well, okay, so there's another theory for that. The area around 39A. Alex, if you look right here, Starship, or BFR 2017's old landing pad, you have a straight shot from the crawlerway right at that landing pad. I wouldn't throw it past SpaceX to maybe extend the crawlerway, right? Radius this a little bit more. It lines up almost perfectly. So you have a Starship dedicated launch tower and then a dedicated catch tower. Similar to Vandenberg with Falcon 9. Okay, so if you catch it, you're good to go. The catch tower can put it down. You can literally take it right back to the pad. That would make sense for a Super Heavy. That you don't want to move that thing around. That thing sucks to move around. It's freaking huge, right? Okay, it comes down, it crashes into the tower. Ah, shoot. Okay, literally pick the thing up and pick up another one that you have in this staging area over here. NASA has an extra crawler transporter. Don't forget, she will not be using all of her engines. Not as much destruction. That's right. A northern landing zone would make sense. Yeah, maybe. I mean, Aqualex, they could always have the booster come in over here and approach from the south. Falcon 9s do that. Falcon 9 during the Salcom mission, which was a launch out of 40, right? It was a launch that went out of 40 and landed at LZ1. Falcon 9 went this way on ascent, right? It went that way on ascent. And when the first stage came back down, it landed right there. Literally, that's what Salcom's ascent looked like. Falcon 9 went out over the ocean and then took a right. And then when the first stage came back down, it was doing it right when it hit its landing burn. It took a left and landed right back on the pad. It was one of the wildest things I've ever seen. And there's enough separation between the two towers to safeguard taking out both? I would think so, Alex. Yeah. Blinga repost. Long shot, but is there any way that these tower segments are for Slick 40? There's not enough. The road infrastructure to get a tower segment to Slick 40 is inadequate. And I have that from the guy that moves them. Or one of the guys that moves them, let me put it that way. Don't forget, you would not using your engine. SpaceX, I can't prove it, but I think a pretty sound theory is that SpaceX is going to extend the crawlerway right to there and build something similar to the PEG system that was here at 39A. And they're going to use this for catching boosters, and they're going to have a dedicated booster catching tower. Booster and Starship catching tower. That right there. That was my knee. Hey, Crash. For the last year, you've been pushing your master's in education for high school physics, and I'm coming up to the end of the program. And like you always say, school comes first. That's right. To everyone here is thinking about it or is currently in school, you can do it, and you're never too old to do something new. There you go. Right on, Crash. That's good to hear, man. Good for you. Dude, Goalie, you still here? It's pretty sound, dude. That's not a bad idea. I mean, it makes sense. Ugh, I really hope they do that. I really hope they do it. It would be legendary. You know what? I think NSF has a new flyover, a Cape flyover video. Hang on, let me take a look. Are those pipes behind the lift? Bottom right. Let me take a look. Oh, yeah, they are. But those pipes could be for the quick disconnect that's being made over there. Is it raining? Yes. I heard they were installing catch hardware on 39A's chopsticks, though. Yeah, they are, Reagan. Would you never want to catch stuff from that tower? No, but when you're prototyping how to make a vehicle literally grab a rocket out of thin air, right? You'd want to use it. You'd want to use a different tower. But eventually, when you hone it in enough, the short chopsticks, the stubby chopsticks should be good enough, right? Like, that's what makes sense. One for super, yeah, or you could have two catch towers, one for super heavy and one for Starship. I mean, it makes sense, man. Goalie, like, how sure are we of this? Let me ask you. Yeah, Bellum, I think these short catch towers are just for, A, moving Starship around. Because I still think SpaceX is going to use the VAB to store Starships. It's a great hangar for storing Starship and Super Heavy. It's a great hangar for doing that. You could fix the catch towers in one of the high bays in the VAB. And if they build 39C or LC49 and connect the crawlerway to it, boom. Then you have a dedicated system for using VAB high bays. While we're talking rocket infrastructure, I need help settling a debate. Is Cosmic Girl a first stage, or is it more accurately air support equipment? I would call Cosmic Girl a launch pad. Why would you use a whole tower when you have an SBMT? A whole tower. Really? You said use the tower to move the ship. Why do that when an SPMT works just fine? Because it's an extra step, Creeper. If Starship can land on a pad and you can move the whole pad, why would you take Starship off the pad if the pad and Starship are going to go back into the VAB, if they're going to go to the same place? Then you can just use the transfer aisle cranes to take Starship off. If you move Starship on the catch tower with the crawler transporter, you need one transport vehicle, and that's it. And you do not need a crane. You don't need a Liebherr 11,000, right? The VAB cranes can pick up Starship. I know they can. Easier. Dude. All right. You know what? I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say it. And if I'm wrong, you guys can come back and say, ha ha ha, EJ, you were wrong. SpaceX is using the VAB. They're going to use the VAB. I'm just going to say it. I'm convinced. There's enough evidence here to support that theory, but it's just a theory. I'm probably wrong. I probably just want SpaceX to use the VAB because I want to see a Starship roll out of the VAB. And also I want to see the VAB getting used. I really don't like just seeing it sit there and do nothing. It's kind of annoying. I know that SLS is using High Bay 3. I get it. That's cool. I appreciate that. And I would want 2 high bays for that, but if I'm wrong, I don't know. If I'm wrong, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. The SPMT is cheaper. The job saves can put it on a transport stand by themselves. Transport stand to what? The VAB? Pad's already going there. You understand you're proposing an extra step. Even though it's cheaper, it's an extra step. So it's not cheaper, it's more expensive. That's like saying I want to go to the post office. I'm going to drive my car halfway there, and then I'm going to use a bicycle for the rest of the way because it's cheaper. The car can already drive there. You could drive to the grocery, unless your grocery store is in the middle of the woods. If you're wrong, you got to shave your head. Let's put some skin in the game. No, I won't shave my head. No. No, I'm not doing that. Eat a hat? No, I won't promise to eat a hat because last time somebody did that, they actually had to go eat a piece of clothing apparel. I want to have a traffic jam of crawlers. I'm with you. Yeah, no, me too. Me too, man. The Beluga is flying Airbus-built Eutelsat Hotbird 13. Oh, cool. The Beluga's moving around satellites to Kourou. That's cool, Alex. I like that. How about if I'm wrong, I'll buy a Chevy? How about that? How about that? I'll put some skin in the game. How's that for putting skin in the game, Frash? I'll buy a Chevy and I'll work on it on stream if I'm wrong. How's that? Not Kourou, it's going to KSC. Oh, even cooler. That's worse than shaving your head. At the very least, I'll work on a Chevy on stream. How about that? How about that? I'll throw that skin in the game, sure. Okay, I changed my mind. I'm down. That should be if you win. No. Buying Chevy is not a winning scenario. Buying a Chevy, Chief, it's not a winning scenario. That's not skin. You still end up with a nice car. The hell I do. Too bad he won't have anything to fix with the Chevy. You shut your flat frickin' mouth. I enjoyed my S10. I don't know. It might not be a Stingray Corvette, Chief, but yeah. You have to LS swap a Ford? No, that's dumb. Okay, fine. You get to fix a Chevy Tahoe. Ooh. I mean, if I'm buying and fixing a Chevy Tahoe, Crash, I'm keeping it. Tahoe's there. Great automobile. Yeah. I think that's a good one. Yeah. Or Ford swap a Chevy? No. Would you watch this? Tom Cruise will launch aboard a SpaceX rocket to film a movie at the space station and could become the first civilian to do a spacewalk. Yes, I would watch that. Yes. A good project would be to modernize a mid-70s Camaro. How long have you been coding for? About 3 days, Kite. About 3 days. Am I doing good? I don't know. Now, I will precursor that. I did take programming classes in high school. The problem is that the last time I was in a high school was a long time ago. So, how about a real challenge? Making a GMC Jimmy nice. You're doing awesome? Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've never coded anything in Python ever. The classes that I did take in high school were Java, because it was like in the early 2000s. Yeah, so thanks, man. That's pretty cool. Oh, you have to work on a Lucas electric car? I want to lose a bet, Tessa, not pull my hair out, okay? That ends up with me shaving my head because there'll be a freaking huge patch, more than the one that's already on there. There'll be a huge patch over here where I ripped my hair out from frustration. You also know that Python works as a Blender scripting language. Okay, W. Yeah, I'll work on a Chevy on stream if I'm wrong about the Starship VAB stuff. Okay. What is this, Chief? Oh, the Astro vet. Oh, I wish. Reading the article. Rent a Chevy, then fix it on stream. Impaler? Nah. What if they modify the 1100 tracks that they... What is that, goalie? Hang on a second here. What if they modified the Liebherr 11,000 tracks that they own that are at Roberts Road? The car body counterweight is enough to keep it stable for carrying that. Retired, nice. No, that no, that's hilarious. No, I'm not doing that. It's very cool to see you having to take up code KRPC. It's a new skill, and the hardest step is starting. Yep. You know what's good about the stream crash? Chat will hold you to it. So if I say I want to learn this, chat will give me crap if I don't get it done. So just gotta get it done. Look at all the Kerbal projects that I didn't finish. People still give me crap about those. So yeah, it's a good thing it's a good way to hold yourself accountable. Yeah. It's a good way to do that. Well, I'm not really holding myself accountable as much as you guys are, but it works. I've learned a lot of good stuff that way. But yeah, fellas, I think that Starship is going to I think they're gonna I think they're gonna use these to I think that they're gonna use these for catching, and then this thing will be able to go inside of the VAB. Yeah, of course, Crash. I know that. Interesting. Dude, the Starship VAB theory seemed very far-fetched at the beginning, but with every passing day, it makes more and more sense.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Here, there's the NSF flyover from last week. Let's see if they say the same thing. I'm interested.
Starship launch tower at pad 39A in Florida is complete, but pieces for the next tower have been spotted at Roberts Road. Where will the second tower be built?
Hey, Era.
In this flyover, we'll cover
Tier
that,
1, 6
plus
months.
all the other developments
Thank
since
you
our last
very much.
flight, including the construction on the Starship launch pad at 39A,
Welcome to Mission Control,
the impact of Hurricane Ian, and a rare look at some New Glenn hardware inside of one of Blue Origin's buildings.
Business end. Maybe not.
Let's get right into it, starting as always with Roberts Road. Beginning with the...
It's not going to host a full stack, Blinga. It's only going to be the catch tower. And if the catch tower is 6 segments, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Then you're good to go. Actually, they moved that right there. That's the part where they're staging parts. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. See? They're clearly only staging 6 segments. They have extra jigs over here for more staging equipment, but if they have a catch-only tower, that means they could catch a Starship, pick it up with the crawler, the whole pad, and put it inside of the VAB for payload turnaround and reintegration. And then they could store Starships in the transfer aisle in the VAB. Dude, the way I'm seeing this pan out is that SpaceX is literally going to use the VAB as a hangar. It's going to be a Starship maintenance hangar and a pad and the catch tower maintenance hangar too for the time being. Or they could build 2 segments. Yeah, Stealthy Sumo, yeah, they could. They maybe the other scenario is that maybe they just haven't built the extra jigs first, and I'm completely wrong.
The Star Factory, its expansion continues.
What about SLS? VAB has 4 high bays, dude. SLS is only using 1.
The foundation looks nearly complete. If you look closely, it even appears as if some cranes are already installed inside the structure, but it's hard to tell for certain.
Dude.
Moving to the north of Star Factory, at the chopstick and QD arm assembly area, we can see hydraulic actuators staged next to the chopsticks where they will soon be installed. These are the parts that allow the chopsticks to do the catching and stacking work for which they are designed. Also, there's a new retention pond next door that probably came in handy during Hurricane Ian. Speaking of Hurricane Ian, you can see there are new berms around the other retention ponds on site, which were probably built to prevent them from overflowing and flooding the nearby buildings and construction site.
What's that, Rocket Guy? I still see them using the VAB as a non-optional move. What do you mean, non-optional? No, Hibbit. We still have solicitations out there for High Bay 1 and High Bay 2. Well, not High Bay 2, just High Bay 1 right now, which is interesting. I still see using the VAB as a non-optimal move. Yeah. So, Rocket Guy, let me play this one out. Let me play this one out then. What about using the VAB as a Starship payload integration facility? Because they're going to be building Starships here, and that's what that high bay is going to be used for, building. Fabricating Starships is not payload changeout. And if you have something like HLS that's launching from 39A in the Lunar Starship variant, you need a relatively clean room environment, right? You could build clean room environments on the gantries inside of the VAB. They were designed for a 10-meter core, right? It makes sense, dude. And if you're going to stage payloads inside of the VAB, right, what are you going to do? Well, Creeper's right. They could just move. They could stage the payloads and use it as a payload transfer, use a high bay as a payload transfer area, and literally just ship them out to the pad on SPMTs. I'd say at the very least it's going to be a payload changeout room. I don't know, maybe. I just see that as being too slow for what SpaceX touts that they want. Perhaps it works in the short term though. Well, I mean, obviously catch towers aren't going to be the end all be all, like a dedicated catch tower, right? Like that doesn't make sense. So yeah, maybe it's an interim thing. Who knows?
Luckily, we're not aware of any major damage to either Roberts Road or any other facilities at the Cape, including SpaceX's Falcon 9 and Starship launch sites at LC-39A. Moving to the east, at the tower construction area, new tower parts have appeared, which is curious, mainly because the tower at 39A has been topped out. So these parts are for a new third tower? One column in particular can be seen with rails on it, which further confirms it is for yet another Starship launch tower with chopsticks. Where will it be built? Well, there are three options. There's Launch Complex 49, the proposed new launch facility SpaceX wants to build to the north of pads 39A and B and just to the south of Playa Linda Beach. This site has not seen any work started on it yet, and it still needs to go through environmental review. For this reason, I don't think the next tower will be built at LC-49. The next potential location for the third tower, the second at the Cape, is SpaceX's LZ-1 and 2. It's possible that in order to protect historic pad 39A, SpaceX will, at least initially, launch Starship from there, but land them at a dedicated tower at LZ-1. The problem here is that LZ-1 and 2 are actively in use for RTLS landings of Falcon 9 first stage boosters. And when I say actively in use, I mean it. There are around 4 RTLS landings in the next few months, including at least one Falcon Heavy with the iconic dual side booster RTLS. That'll be on the classified USSF-44 mission. As we've seen in Boca Chica, it can be, tricky, let's say, to build out a site while actively using it. Despite that, I still think a dedicated catch tower at LZ-1 and 2 makes sense. It could very well be the location of the next Mechazilla. That said, the chopsticks currently under construction at Roberts Road are once again getting catch hardware, as I mentioned earlier. So, just a small reminder that I could be completely wrong. The final option for the next tower to be built is at the rumored Starship launch site at Slick 47. There's not much we know about this proposal right now beyond some faint rumblings, but just as background, Slick 47 is nestled between SpaceX's Slick 40 and ULA's Slick 37, where the final 2 Delta IV Heavy missions will launch.
Play it again.
Tricky, let's say, to build out a site while actively using it. Despite that, I still think a dedicated catch tower at LZ-1 and 2 makes sense. It could very well be the location of the next Mechazilla. That said, the chopsticks currently under construction at Roberts Road are once again getting catch hardware, as I mentioned earlier. So, just a small reminder that I could be completely wrong. The final option for the next tower to be built is at the rumored Starship launch site at Slick 47. There's not much we know about this proposal right now beyond some faint rumblings, but just as background, Slick 47 is nestled between SpaceX's Slick 40 and ULA's Slick 37, where the final 2 Delta IV Heavy missions will launch from. Again, for this site, we haven't really heard much publicly. At least for LC-49, we have gotten some press releases from NASA about it. So I think, in summary, I personally rank LZ-1 and 2 as most likely, LC-49 as second most likely, and Slick 47 as third, keeping in mind, once again, that I could be completely wrong. Perhaps even more interesting is NOAA aerial imagery provided by Harry Stranger of Hangar M that shows pieces of a new orbital launch mount being staged, indicating a third orbital launch mount will be built at the Cape.
Curious.
The second is currently in a state of advanced construction inside Hangar M, but it's basically impossible to get any views of it. So, where will the next Florida Starship launch site materialize? There's currently nowhere at the Cape where work is underway for foundations of any of this, tower or mount. So it could just be staging tower and mount segments for a future launch site. SpaceX's orbital launch mount is an insanely complex bit of engineering in and of itself.
I mean, maybe, goalie.
In fact, the orbital launch mount in Boca Chica seemingly still isn't ready to support an orbital launch. Perhaps this is just SpaceX trying to get ahead of the game. Rounding out Roberts Road, the Mega Bay looks ready to start rising out of the ground, with even more pieces staged in and around the building's footprint. The concrete foundations to the north also appear complete and ready to support the buildup of a structure. Next, the formerly dirt parking lot to the north of Hangar X is being paved, along with more pavement going down on some of the surrounding dirt roads. Meanwhile, what could be a fairing half is next to the hangar. And finally, the booster parked outside of Hangar X is most likely B1060-14. 1060-14 will be used on the launch of the dual-stack Galaxy 33 and Galaxy 34 satellites on October 6th, which may have already happened by the time you watch this.
What he said. When did this video come out? Came out a week ago. Galaxy 33 is already launched, landed, and back at the launch site. Or not the launch site. It's at the recovery site. It's at Port Canaveral.
1060-14 will be used on
Would it be possible, even just in theory, for Starship to launch from Roberts Road?
On October 6th, which may have already happened by the time you watch
Blue, I'm not sure. I don't think so. I mean, yeah, anything is possible. Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't do that. But there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in the way. I don't think they would ever do that.
With Crew Dragon Endurance on top. Just don't look at that meatball. Don't look at it.
I'm happy that stage met a fiery demise.
Don't look at it. Ahead of the Crew 5 mission, which successfully launched on Wednesday, October 5th. It's not all Falcon 9 at 39A though. Moving over to the Starship side of the complex, the launch tower has had its final section stacked on top of it, meaning it's now at its final height. Is it just me or did that feel fast? The new propellant tanks that were shipped from Boca Chica and recently delivered to the Cape have been installed near the big LOX tank that's currently under construction next to the tower. From those same NOAA photos that Harry Stranger posted, we can see that the hexagonal mystery structure has pipes sticking out of it, likely indicating that it will be for flowing a lot of some kind of fluid. Logic dictates that that fluid will most likely be water for a sound suppression and deluge system. There's a hexagonal cutout around the base of the launch mount legs, so it seems like the hexagonal structure could end up here. Maybe the pipes that stick out push water up around the legs and under the booster during ignition. In support of this, we can see a retention pond next to the orbital launch mount, potentially for use retaining this water. Though right now it just looks to be holding runoff from Hurricane Ian. Continuing with more of the Starship infrastructure at 39A, piping from the methane tank farm to the tower now looks much more complete.
Is in place.
Once again, in the NOAA pictures, we can see how the pipes and wires from the tower are routed from each side of the tank farm. Finally, red truss sections appear visible between the giant LR-11350 crane and two smaller tents to the south. These are likely to be used for chopstick assembly. In case you don't remember, at Starbase they used a similar approach last year where they mounted a two-truss... Was it really last year? Where they mounted a two-truss system to aid with the mating of the chopsticks and carriage system. Moving on to Port Canaveral, Megan is back in port after weathering Hurricane Ian at Port Everglades along with Shannon. Shannon, however, went to Tampa to support the Crew 5 launch in case of an abort, as well as to support the splashdown of Crew 4 next week. Meanwhile, both drone ships and Doug were out at sea supporting two different missions, while Bob and Booster 1073 were in port after coming back from supporting the Starlink Group 4-35 mission, though their arrival was delayed due to Ian. You can also see two recovered fairing halves on the wharf. One interesting thing about these two fairing halves is that they clearly show "not for flight" marked in red on them. They sometimes have fairings there at the port for sea trials, so that could be the explanation for this. Next up, at Blue Origin's Exploration Park campus, which was incredibly busy as we can see the parking areas overflowing, we got a rare look at a new Glen segment inside of the surface coating facility. How cool is that? This looks like it could potentially be an interstage, and is another sign that Blue are making excellent progress towards the first full.
Huh. Why is it moved to an octagonal shape towards the bottom of the interstage? Yeah, right, Loopy? Can you believe that? You ever think Falcon 9 would get that far? Reinforcement for the fin actuators. Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Full New Glenn flight stage. Elsewhere on site, the Two-Cat building has gained a finished door, just as we feared. Oh well, perhaps we'll still manage occasional views inside of it, like we did at the surface coating facility. Down at the southern side of the campus, ground preparations continue in the middle of the site, where current plans lead us to believe that there will be a composite assembly building, a reef pathfinder building, hundreds of parking spaces, and with more buildings planned in the future. The warehouse expansion, of course, continues to make good progress, with some of the sections now pre-assembled on the ground and teams actively working on the structure. Over at Blue Origin's Launch Complex 36, the NOAA aerial imagery once again comes in handy. As noted in some of our previous flyovers, there are some structures being built at the base of the ramp. These could possibly be some sort of structure that's part of the transporter erector system. Moving north, we get a really good look at the tent area, which is where we assume Jarvis test structures are being built. We can see barrels and domes outside of the tents, as well as the transport stands for them. Last up for Blue Origin, we head back to Port Canaveral, where there is an odd barge which has a structure on top of it made primarily of shipping containers. On the end of the barge, we can see two interesting structures which are around 7 meters in diameter, the perfect size for New Glenn. Any ideas what they could be? Let us know in the comments. Next up, at Relativity's LC-16, we can see via the NOAA aerial imagery that the site looks to be in good shape after Ian, with only some minor flooding. On October 4th, Relativity tweeted out their current to-do list: integration, static fire, and then make history. This is of course the most exciting part: launch of a brand new rocket. First flights are always exciting, and this one is even more so, as it could very well be the first orbital launch of a methane-fueled rocket. Check out our recent video on the race to launch the first Methalox rocket to orbit. Link in the description. We're all super excited to watch this new vehicle come online and embark on its first ever flight. So be sure to stay tuned for our coverage of that.
Only company out there that
that's
3D
it for this
prints their
flyover.
tanks.
Thanks
See
for
that?
watching.
I saw some things, fellas. I saw some things like this one.
Actively using it. Despite that, I still think...
No, there was some other stuff that I was looking around here. Let's see. So, look, OLM segment 3. Or OLM 3 segments right there. Yeah. That booster... This video came out a week ago, and it was probably filmed like, I don't know, maybe couple of days before the video released, right? That booster, by the time, so it's a week, this video is a week old at this point. That booster's already flown into space and it's back at Port Canaveral and it's being moved back into this position. So like in basically a week and a half, the thing went from sitting outside to space to drone ship to Port Canaveral to back here. Oh, okay. I'll check that out. So, all right, Group 5 already did its thing. I know, Wrecker, right? It only came in at 7 this morning. Was that this morning? Or was it yesterday morning, Loopy? I don't know. This coding thing has kind of got me on a little bit of a binge. So, okay, fellas, some things to note here. these NOAA pictures. I glossed over this last time. So check this out. That's the deluge system, pad deluge, right? That's going in the OLM, right? That's not something that the Boca Chica pad has. Second of all, these U-shaped concrete things here, it's for drainage. And there's a lot of them. So in the next shot that Jack shows here, you have a lot of avenues here for drainage, indicating that it looks like SpaceX is going to solve their lack of flame diverter by spraying insane amounts of water at this pad. See, they're digging out a pond over here, and there's clearly avenues here that come from the pad, and those conduits are going to probably find their way in. My guess is this and the hole that they dug at the launch site were in anticipation of the hurricane. What's that concrete tower in Silo? Hold on. I personally think that that's a LOX tank because it's two-tiered. There's a cavity in between the inside and the outside skin of the tank that usually indicates a vacuum insulated tank. Usually, I think it's a LOX tank because the methane tank is over there. SpaceX looks like they're reusing 39A's hydrogen sphere. Inside of the New Glenn Interstate. Oh, cool. Here's them placing the deluge piece. Man, that thing is big. Dude, look at that thing. It's freaking huge. That was on the 7th. Yeah, I remember. They put it, see that? They put it right there. Now, the real question is, Core, where's the water pipe for it? I'm going to go ahead and guess that that big honking pipe right there is probably the water pipe. Now, the second part of that question is, where the heck does that thing lead? Where's the water pipe? Just curious how big would a flame trench for Starship at 39A would have to be if they were doing one. That flame, this would hold it. That could take Starship. 39A and 39B's flame trenches could do it. They were designed for Nova. They can handle it. I think the pipes are underground. Yeah, if so, where? Don't you think there would be a patch of dirt or something where they were? Yeah, that was a year ago. Can't believe it. All right. There's those fairings. Anything else? Any other goodies we can see here? Some Dragon test articles over there. Or a Falcon Heavy nose cone. It could be either one. All right, over to blue. So that's definitely a New Glenn interstage, yeah. Pretty sure. And it's crazy that the parking lot is full. Those are the training capsules, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that parking lot is absolutely jammed. Corporate pep rally day Maybe. Crunch time for blue manufacturing. I think that's what's going on. I think they're starting to make this factory is coming online. That's what I think is going on. Yeah, dude, it's aesthetic as hell, Phenomenon. I'll give it that. I love it. I think it looks cool. I love the matching buildings. I think it looks awesome. Second stage tank cleaning and testing facility. How confident are we on the Falcon Heavy launch date? Not confident at all, Killer Fun, because it's on the 31st now. But is it bigger than SpaceX's factory? I don't know, man. Maybe. So Blue just built another facility down here, and then they're going to build more over there. You can see they're already starting to grade out the terrain. Jack will show the plans here. South Campus lease parcel. I'm trying to orient myself here. Where are we? Oh, okay. That's the center road. All right. So that's that road right there. So they're building a big honking parking lot right here. Why does none of this include multi-level parking to save space? It's Florida. It's Florida. Save space? Why do they need to save space? You could build out instead of up down there, dude. So whatever this building is that they're adding, guys, I noticed that there was tracks on it. See the tracks right there? 1 and 2. Gantry crane tracks. Dead giveaway. I know my gantry cranes. I love gantry cranes. Also plans for building an orbital reef. Yeah, that shows that they're pretty damn serious about it, dude, which is really cool. Sorry, Japan man talking. Dude, yeah. Predominant, have you ever been to the Space Center? Like, I'm not being a dick. I'm actually asking. You ever been down there? No. You ever been to Orlando? Never been to Florida. Once you get outside of the cities, it is really empty. Really empty. Like, yeah, dude, you'd space. No, if that camera panned up, you'd see woods for miles. You wouldn't even be able to see another city. The Space Center, especially on Merritt Island, there's nothing out there. Yeah, anybody that's taken the drive down SR 528 to the Kennedy Space Center from Orlando knows exactly what I'm talking about. There ain't nothing out there. Yeah, you don't need to build up. You can just build sideways. And you know what the crazy part is? Florida's building sideways at an insanely high rate. And it's still empty. Which is just unbelievable to me. Who calls it the SR 528? I didn't call it the SR 528. I called it 528. I did call it SR 528. Yeah. I drove it a few weeks ago. At night, 90 mile an hour, straight flat road, complete darkness, nothing out there. Yep. Empty like Kansas empty? Out at the Space Center, Woody, yeah. What's the name? I think that's a New Glenn payload attachment fitting right there. That looks like a holder for a PAF, by the way. Yeah, payload attachment fitting. We know that they're working on the fairings, and we've seen them work on the interstage. That's the PAF. You know what's even crazier? 1.6 million people will be displaced from Miami-Dade County over the next 30 years due to climate change sea levels. That's not how that works. Even you grew up in the Australian countryside, Devo, a real place. I know, empty. But it's over here, you've been in Japan for too long. Yeah. There are parking garages in Florida, dude. There's literally, I know where one is. I know where one that's actually not far from that parking lot, dude. There's one at the hospital. Port Canaveral. There's a hospital near Port Canaveral, and it has a gigantic parking garage. It's down here. The heck is it? I think it actually is over here. Somebody can tell me where it is, dude. I forgot where it is. That was it, the island? Oh yeah, that is it. Yeah, see? They literally just built the land, like Dubai style. I've never looked at this up down like that. That really is just reclaimed land, huh? Huh. I never noticed that. That was it, the island. Your dad passed away there. Netlag, that took a really dark turn really fast. I'm sorry for your loss. That okay. Sorry, it was years ago. I was like, what? What? All right. Thank you for telling. I'm sorry, man. Guys, you know, talking about the Miami thing, you know, oh, people are going to be displaced from rising sea levels. You know, they could just, okay, this is going to sound really stupid. And, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. Can't you just dredge this? Oh, rising sea levels, dude. Literally just dig a big hole over here. Just dig a big hole. I know it's the Everglades. I get it. Just dig a big hole. No one's gonna bother. There's a big hole right there. Just dig a bigger hole. I know that sounds stupid, but it's Florida. See what I'm talking about? Point is, I think they'll be okay. They'll find us. Florida man will find a solution. It's Miami. We won't lose anything. Damn. How would making a hole in the swamp help? Dig a bigger hole, all the water goes into it. Or pumps, or go Netherlands on it, sure. Point is, it's like, oh, it's like, oh my God, Miami's underwater. Now that won't work. The Netherlands begs to differ. Might lose some lost classified document. Dude, come on. Why are you bringing that crap in here? Get off. Really? Cringe, bro. Cringe. All right, we'll finish up with the rest of space news. Where were we? There's really not much else here. So this is an update from Virgin Orbit here. Rocking and rolling. Update. The rocket has left California, loaded on a C-17. Launcher 1 is on its way to Newquay, Cornwall, to join Cosmic Girl for our Start Me Up mission later this year at Space Cornwall. Yeah, here, check this out. Virgin Orbit, it has a, well, it's not really a launch site, but yeah, here we go. They're going to launch Cosmic Girl, and they're going to launch payloads out of here, if I'm remembering right. think it's that one. No, Tessa, I didn't. Patch for the mission. Yeah, look at that. They're gonna launch. Yeah, they're gonna launch right out of Nuki. Look at that. That's really freaking cool, man. At least I think that's where they're launching from. Don't see any other airports around here. There's one down here that's at the very edge, but I don't think this is really counts as Nuki anymore. What's that? He's up here. It's gotta be that. It's gotta be out of here. Now I have to scope the stupid airport. Let's see. $787? Maybe? I don't know. Can't really tell. What else we got down here? Whoa! Cool. Look at how many engines are mounted back there. Reinforced RAF bunker. Couple of them. A lot of them. What else we got over here? Hey. Hello. Looks like the remains of a B-25, and it looks like its wings are over there. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff in here. Look at this. What do we have here? So we got a tornado, a Canberra, another tornado, an EEL, a lightning. That's cool. Cool plane. What else is in here? I don't know what those ones are. Is it a B-25 or is it a Lank? Actually, that's not a B-25. I'm looking at it comparatively to the other planes. That's... Oh, it's not a Lank. It's the plane that's based off of the Lancaster. That came a little bit later. Nimrod? Shackleton. That's it. That's what it's called. It's called the Shackleton. Yeah, it's missing some parts, though. Yo. Buzz bomb.
Discovery.
What the hell? What's that doing there? V1. Oh Lord, 4113 said, there's a buzz bomb there. What is this? This has got to be a museum or something. There's all kinds of... What is that? There's all kinds of cool stuff in here. It's got to be a museum. Yeah, it's a museum. That's awesome, dude. They got it. There's, dude. That plane is worth the price of admission right there. The Lightning. How fast do you want to go? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Is that a Spit? I don't know if that's a Spitfire. I'm not sure. There's the wings for the Shackleton right there. Oh, oh, don't worry, guys. One of the engines sitting on the ground. It's fine. They got two tornadoes up in there and a Canberra, or an original Canberra. That's wicked. Ooh, what do we got over here? I'm not sure what these planes are, to be honest with you. I gotta brush up on my English planes. Left, more, P-51. I don't think that's a P-51, guys. It might be. Yeah, maybe. The tail. Yeah, you might be right. Two engines are on the ground. Oh, yeah. Why is this Shackleton in pieces? Last blocks. Skyrora, here you go. First Skyrora space launch ditches in the sea off of Iceland. Oh. Oh, it failed. Oh, no. Museum website. Ooh, Cornwall Aviation. Guys, I swear to God, don't kiss a death this thing before I load it up. I swear to God, don't do that. Oh, the lightning. My favorite. How fast do you want to go? Yes. Yes. This is an interceptor. It's literally designed to shoot down Tu-95s. That's what it was made for. It's designed to shoot down Tu-95s. So it's designed to go up there as fast as humanly possible, just shoot out a Tu-95 and then come back down and land. So by definition, it's an interceptor. And holy balls does that plane haul. It goes fast, man. We're talking like F-4 Phantom fast. That's why I like it. I like planes that go fast. Creeper, I don't want to talk about that. That's depressing. Oh, dude, the Canberra. And, yeah, it is a Harrier, Tessa. You were right. Whoa. Yeah, see the lightning. Yeah, baby. What else you got here? Oh, they let you sit in the planes. They let you sit in the planes, Basil. Our aircraft. Aircraft overview. Cool. The lightning. It's a Hawker Hunter. That's what I couldn't put my finger on. I wasn't sure what that was. There's a Seahawk. There's two Tornadoes. Vickers Varsity. That was that prop plane, and I wasn't sure what it was. T8 Hawk. BAC 111. That's the plane right there. A Bolton? Paul Balliot T2, maybe? Is that what that thing is in the back over there? Maybe that one. Is the tail red? No. There's still things about the Lightning that are still top secret. You need to go here. Nah, I'm good right now. Yeah, the VC-10. That's cool. It's got 4 engines in the back. Bird. This museum's based. They got a Ford in front of planes. All right. Yep. Yep. If I ever go, I'm going here. Yep. Sad thing is they are closing permanently at the end of the month due to their lease being terminated. No. Don't tell me that. Why? I didn't feel like feeling today. Come on. Impromptu England trip. I can't do that, mate. I don't have any money. Let me look around here. I'm trying to figure out where Cosmic Girl is gonna stage. Like, where are they gonna park this thing? Anything down here? Airport firefighter training. Duxford, yeah. Ooh, Bronco in a C-47. Try this one on for size, just outside of Edinburgh. All right. Spotlight that one, Mike. See that one right there? Right in this area here? Not here, or here so much. Right there. Yeah, I like that plane. Very nice. Oh, they got a Concorde in there. What's the Avro plane that flew better after you rotated the nose of it? It's the Hanley Page, if I'm remembering right. Yeah, that thing. I know about Duxford Nightmare. Yeah. I mean, Corey, maybe it's... I mean, are you sure it was a... what's it called? Are you sure it was an Avro? Ever been to EAA? No, lopsided. I want to go. Yeah, that'd be pretty good. Or I'm probably wrong though. We're probably thinking of something different. But anyway. What is this paper? Oh. Oh. Okay. We just... Oh. Oh. That looked right. Stormworks Industrial Frontier. That released today? Oh no. My dad took me as a kid many times to one of my favorite museums from childhood. Yeah. Yeah, EAA's. Dude, I saw a lot of pictures coming out of EAA this year. Holy crap, dude. Holy crap. Yeah, I know, Dayton. Das and I were planning a VFT to their GA, but COVID happened. Yeah, I figured it's far enough out of the gates to say that. That was the next VFT. Yeah, didn't do it. Yeah, you see this part right here? You see that part? I like that part. I like this part. Not this part. Grass is nice, but I like this part right here. This is nice. This is brilliant, but I like this. Yeah. 2 engines of vertical setup. Yeah, the English Electric Lightning, Kuro. It is literally designed to go up as fast and as fast and as high as possible, shoot down a Tu-95, and then come back down. Why didn't they just rotate the engines and have it be a lifting body? It's designed. It has to be aerodynamic, Flykin. It's pencil thin. Look at how thin that plane is. Yeah, basically this F4. It's basically like it's an English F4. I mean, it's not an F4. It's in no way related to an F4 Phantom, but it's the same idea. It looks stupid. You take that back. You don't say that ever again. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that again. Don't do that again. Just Oh, come on. That plane looks sick. Look at that thing. It looks awesome. What are you talking about? You don't think the EEL is cool? The EEL is cool. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say. Good luck. Good luck in your airplane aesthetic endeavors or something. Do you have to bar to aero by stacking the engines? Yeah, it's designed to go fast. If they made it pencil thin by stacking the engines on top of each other. Yeah, Micon, like that. Just I don't have anything to say. Next thing these guys are gonna tell me is that the Vulcan looks stupid. It looks like a flounder with a bad bet. What engine does it use? Powerful one. I don't know. I forget. But anyway, that's a great plane. Come on. I'm a little annoyed by that. I'm a little annoyed. Not gonna lie to you. It's amazing. It's not. What's over here? Oh. Oh, there was a runway right there. There used to be 3 runways here. Well, actually more, including that one. 1, 2, and 3. World that this exists, nothing is ugly. I wonder what's going on there considering the new blend mounts. Yeah, I'm not sure, Thomas. The Avon. It's the same as the de Havilland Common, but with afterburners. I like it even more now. Because oh man, you can just, yeah, okay. All right. Hang on, Tessa. We'll show them this. Remo, I'll get to programming in a second, okay? You can say whatever you want. I get it. Circle windows and stuff. But the Comet is one of the coolest looking airliners around. Like, look at this. Yeah. It's not a death trap. It's got circular windows. X-29, you want that reversed swept wing garbage with canards? Oh, yeah, there's a reason why they don't make planes like that. Just look at engines embedded in the wings. That is aesthetic as hell, man. You take that back. You don't say that. Swept wings with canards is a joke. There's a reason why they made one of those. Because it's terrible. Comet there too, Pedro. Oh, see, that's a nice looking airplane. What's your last weather guide? Let me check. Yeah, nice Forge. Only made one, huh? That is not the same airplane, Flykin. That's not a Grumman X-29. That is an Su-47. Because the Soviets, too, experimented with a reverse swept wing canard design, and they also found it was terrible. And they promptly retired it. No, but it's swept wings. Do you understand the conversation that we just had? Like, you said, oh, the X-29 is great. I said the X-29 looks stupid. There's a reason why they didn't make any more of those things, because they're bad. And then you said, oh, but the Su-47. I go, the Su-47 is not an X-29. And then you said, oh, but they both have reverse swept wings. That's like you saying 2 + 3 = 4. And I say, no, 2 + 2 = 4. And you go, oh, but what about division? Well, all right. Brother guy, what was your last? Yeah, mile long. Yeah, I know. Circular windows. I know. I do not see your last. Why try swept wings to begin with? What was the idea? Okay, so if you guys want to learn something, the reverse swept wing idea. So if you have a reverse swept wing, it cuts into the air better. And with a reverse swept wing, you don't get side slip over the wings like you would with a wing that was swept back. Forward swept wings actually divert the air towards the fuselage of the plane, and it actually cuts into the air, and it's super maneuverable. That's the plus. The problem is that's about all it's good for. So it's not really that good of an idea. It's cool if you want to make something that can maneuver a lot. But see, the other reason why they didn't make those things so much anymore, why they stopped making them, well, here. Take a look at an F-22's wings, and then you tell me what's going on there. No wingtip vortices. The air is going in towards the fuselage, Jim, not vice versa. They can cut into the air better. They slice through the air like a knife through butter. But check this out. Look at the tail edge of the F-22's wings. You think that's done by accident? Nope. Okay, Pedro, that's cool. If you could do me a favor, Pedro, and just put that stuff in chat, because trying to keep up with 2 chats is very, very, very difficult. See, so like if you look at an F-35 or if you look at an F-22, the back edge of the wing is working like a reverse swept wing. Does that make sense? I'm working on an alternative history, thinking about NASA keeping the EDS in constellation to Artemis change. What do you think? I approve. Yeah, there's the X-29 is poo-poo. It's poo-poo. There's a reason why they made it once. Yeah, I mean, it was an X-plane, but there's a reason why they didn't make a fighter jet with a bunch of reverse swept wings like that. But that technology did find its way into other fighter jets. Like that. It's Artemis Airborne. November 12th is what we're looking at. Can I have a 747? No, you have 747s at home. Now try to explain the Messerschmitt P1109. You guys are going too fast for me. This is what happens when someone that's played too much Kerbal Space Program thinks they're an aerospace engineer and tries to make a plane in real life. Take it from someone who plays a lot of Kerbal. You know what I'm saying? Trash, Chief. Why are you linking pictures of trash in my chat? Have you made a plane in real life yet? No. I have not. There's a good reason. There's a good reason for that. There's a good reason for that. Dude, you got, yeah, the AD-1 in Mana. Oh. Look at this. Look at this thing. NASA had a test plane, right? called the AD-1. All right. That wing can do this. It pivots. The idea is that if you steered to one side, you'd have a reverse swept wing, right? And then if you steer the other way, you'd have a reverse swept wing, so you could make a super maneuverable plane if the wing literally moves like this. Yeah, it's on a pivot. And it goes, yeah, if you're looking at the plane from the top, the wing does that. It is a glider, yes. What kind of plane is this? That's a very happy plane. Okay. You know what? I'm going to segue out. Segue out of that. XF-85s. Yeah, because XF-85s, Flykin, because I want my airplane to look like a thumb. He copied it from the Messerschmitt P1109. Yikes. Segways can't fly. All right, fine. We won't segue. Here, look at this. Look at this. Yep, see? ULA. That's Slick 3 out in Vandenberg. This is the JPSS, one of the JPSS missions. Look at Centaur. You guys like rockets, don't you? Look, Centaur. Yeah. Look, that's a Centaur, and you can tell it's at Vandenberg because it's really foggy out. Final Atlas V from Vandenberg, huh? Jeez. Ah, yes. Untitled Spacecraft. Okay. Yep. Stop linking pictures of cursed airplanes, damn it! Stop it! Geeson, that's not a cursed airplane. I love that plane. Stop! Stop! Stop doing this! See this? Stop doing that! Stop it! Stop it! It's not funny! Where's the nozzle extension? It's a Centaur, not a Delta 4, not a Delta stage. This is an RL10C11. I think or it could be an RL10CX. I'm not sure. Long story short, it's an RL10C variant, no extender nozzle. That's only the B. Jim, what the? Why? Why would someone make this? Why would someone? Stop it! Stop it! No, 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 no! What? Hey fam, what do you want your plane to look like? Ah, dude, I really want my plane to look like a rubber chicken. Alright, say no more, man. We gotta stop. I'm serious. It looks like a rubber chicken. Oh my god. That's terrible. Oh my god. I want it to look like a rubber chicken. It looks like somebody photoshopped the front off of a beluga. This is Maverick. Oh my god. Oh, dude. What? Wait. No. Oh, God. This is terrible. Please. All right. All right. Oh, God, no, T-Man. Please, no. Oh. Can we get back to coding, please? Oh my God. I need more coffee. Oh my God. The rubber chicken did me in, dude. That's so funny. Super guppies aren't cursed, Chief. Don't like pictures of super scared of flying. What are you, chicken? Midget, if we took that plane and if the front fell off, would it become the flying turkey? Or would it be flying around like a chicken with its... That's bad. Oh, that's bad. Oh, no. Oh, no. The front fell off. That's not a bad idea, Thomas. Or Aqualex, sorry. Yeah, great gift, W. Boo! Yeah, I deserve that. I deserve that. Okay, alright, that's enough. Alright, that's enough. Let's... Hushkit is the best aviation humor you'll find. Yeah. Okay, all right, that's enough. Okay, cursed airplane, cursed wings Wednesday is done. We're closing the book on cursed wings. Closing the book. Okay, let's get back to Kerbal, man. Oh my God. Can this fly? I said so.